Welcome back to episode 120 of the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. My name is Josh. As always, I'm joined by Troy. What's going on, man?
Not a whole lot. Had to take my son to hockey tryouts because it's that time of the year. So really a lot of fun. And then that's about it. Lazy day. Go Vikings, I guess, even though they're losing right now, but we'll see.
They've been losing, then winning, then losing. We know how it'll happen. What'll happen, though. They'll lose. That's the fatalist Minnesota sports fan in all of us. Well, fancy seeing you, Troy. It's like I haven't seen you in 15 minutes. It's been a busy weekend for the Gong Show. I'm a little worn out, and we're still going. Got to do the Jeremy Lee show tonight, which will be a lot of fun. But I'm just trying to keep the energy up. We've had a 3-show week, which doesn't happen real often. A lot of fun, a lot of work there too. Yesterday, we uploaded our part 6 of our Hockey Cards 101 series, where we tackled the basics of hockey card breaking. We're joined by Breezy the Breaker, so thanks to him again. If you haven't had a chance to watch or listen and want to know more about hockey breaking, we'd encourage you to check it out. We got NHL preseason going. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff going. Oh, have you started the struggle bus at all in the last few months?
Have I what?
Started the struggle bus at all?
Oh, no.
Is that thing going to run? We got to start thinking about that.
I don't know.
Coming up on the season here.
It can go two ways because the struggle bus is such a heap of crap that it might just fire right up just to tick us off, or else we're going to take that thing in and get some work done on it. But no, the struggle bus has been sitting there. I am excited for some things coming up with the struggle bus, though, for the YouTube video people.
Oh, yeah. We got lots of things planned for the season, so getting closer and closer to really what are we, about 2 weeks away? Maybe a little bit more than 2 weeks.
Now we're getting there.
All right, we're going to get going with the show today. Got a lot to cover. One thing, though, before we get started is just a reminder that the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast is a Patreon podcast. That means we rely on support from listeners and watchers like yourself to, well, help keep the show going, help us cover expenses, continue to produce more, and we hope better hockey card content and even fun initiatives in a small way to grow the hockey card hobby. It's very easy to support us. You can do it via Patreon. We have a 199 support level tier, starts at $5 a month. That gets you access to our Gong Show Discord server where you can chat with us and really the whole crew there, 150, 170. I lost count how many people, but it grows every week. So a lot of fun there. We're doing a 5K challenge, which entry forms are out now. So if you want to participate in the 5K challenge, you want a chance to win a CO box of 2020 The Cup, you got to be a patron. So you got to get in there soon. And it's just a great time and great way to strengthen relationships and community around hockey card collecting. As I mentioned, it's easy to support us. You can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, click on the Become a Patron link at the top of the page, or you could go directly to the Patreon website at patreon.com and search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. There's a link in the show description for whatever podcast app you might be listening to us on right now, or in the YouTube description if you're watching us on YouTube. And finally, in our Instagram and TikTok profiles, there's a link tree that has a link to our Patreon there. All right, Troy, you ready for the game plan, bud?
We begin the show by looking at the greatest NHL player to wear number 20. Then we continue our 2023-24 preview series by looking at selling tips during the best time of the year. Then it's off to hobby news, followed by new product releases. We then give a recap of our experience setting up and participating at a local card show. That might be the longest segment of the day, man. There's lots of stuff to learn there. We end the show with a mailbag and personal pickups. All right, Josh, we are on episode 120. So the greatest NHL player to wear number 20 per the Hockey Writers' greatest player to wear each number article is Luc Robitaille. Runners up were Bob Pulford, Gary Suter, and Ryan Suter. I always want to say Sutter.
It's hard to get the Suter and Sutters not mixed up. I want to say it was maybe last week or the week before when we were doing Jeremy and I lead the YouTube show for the PWCC Weekly.
Yeah.
He had called Luc Robitaille maybe the most underrated hockey player of all time.
Could be.
Is that something that you might agree with?
Could be. Might be one of the biggest steals all time, for sure, from the draft. What was I thinking? Was Eddie Belfour number 20? I could have swore Belfour at one point was 20. Am I just making that up?
Maybe. I don't know.
Who knows? I'll look it up after the show.
Convince me.
That very good persuasive argument by myself.
Yeah.
All right, so Luca Robitaille, left winger from Montreal, Quebec. Robitaille was the 171st overall draft pick in the 1984 entry draft by the Los Angeles Kings. Now, the reason Robitaille was drafted so low was the fact that he was a very poor skater, and teams were worried he wouldn't be able to keep up in the NHL. And this is a fact Robitaille does not dispute. He totally said he was a bad skater, and it's something that he had to live with basically. And he took power skating lessons. I was reading like almost his whole career to try to get better. It's one part of his game that wasn't, at that elite level, but I think he did okay in the NHL.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
So when somebody says a player is a poor skater, does that mean they're slow or bad on their edges?
It could be everything. It could be slow. It could mean even transitions left to right, or stops and starts are slow. Like if you look at McDavid, like I always think of him as like a guy that if you want to see what an elite skater looks like, look at him. Like he can pull away when he's skating, and even when he's doing, they call them linear crossovers. It's the big new thing when they're actually kind of skating forward, but they're actually doing crossovers back and forth, and you actually get more speed that way. So it's just it can mean a lot of things, but Robitaille was not very good at it. We'll just say that.
Okay. All
right. Robitaille played in 1,431 regular season NHL games over. Now I put 19 season career. Josh, you look that up. I thought it might be 17. I think I might have screwed up there.
Okay. Well, it would be a first try because
that 19 perfect. Didn't seem right, but maybe I do have it right. I can probably count the next segment when I talk about where he played. Robitaille began his career playing 8 seasons with the LA Kings. He then played 1 season with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Next, he played 2 seasons with the New York Rangers. Then it was back to the LA Kings for another 4 seasons. After that, he played 2 seasons with the Red Wings before ending his career with 2 seasons with the LA Kings again for his 3rd stint with them. The Kings and Robitaille just could not quit each other, it seems. But it's where he's at home. It's where he felt most comfortable. So I'm glad he actually got to play there a majority of his career. So, Josh, do we have an answer on 17 or 19?
I have a question and an answer. Why would you doubt yourself, Troy? It's 19 seasons.
Okay, maybe it was made the playoffs 17. We'll see when I get to the playoff section. I don't know. I've doubted myself. I don't know what's going on. After that card show, I'm all Fritz, all scatterbrained. All right, for his awards and accomplishments, he is a Hall of Famer, 1-time Stanley Cup winner, Calder Trophy winner in 1986-87. Obviously, won the Calder. He made the 86-87 All-Rookie team. 5-time NHL First All-Star Team selection. 3-time NHL Second All-Star Team selection. 8-time NHL All-Star Game selection. Named one of the 100 greatest NHL players by NHL.com. Ranked number 40 in the Athletics' top NHL players in the post-expansion era. His number 20 is retired by the LA Kings. I didn't put this in there, but I think I remember it. I think he also got a statue in front of the Kings arena.
Really?
I believe him and Gretzky might be the only ones that have that.
I have to break in, and sorry if you're listening and not watching on YouTube, but so in the picture you're showing, it's got to be early 90s where he's in the Kings jersey, and it's when they had like a blue and almost like a royal blue and
white. This has to be. I would guess this is later. This might be like with his final 2 seasons with the Kings. I would think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it looks like kind of because when he started, I want to say the Kings were in those purple, yellow things.
Purple, yeah.
Or maybe they're in the blacks. I can't remember. But this one I feel like is like an alternate 3rd jersey or something.
Oh, okay. Because it feels like the Kings have had more color palettes than any other team in NHL history.
Yeah. Yeah. And plus, I'm trying to look. He looks kind of oldish, but
yeah, he looks old. You're right.
Someone else. Right. I really, I've in the past I've been able to find really good pictures. There weren't that many really cool pictures of Robitaille in my 3 minutes of searching.
Is it Hockey Illuminati?
It could be someone's out there. All right. For his career, Robitaille had 668 goals, which puts him 13th all time. 726 assists, which is 54th all time, for 1,394 points, which is 24th all time. I'm just going to say something on NHL.com. When you go to their record site, it bugs me to no end that if a person's tied with someone, they don't put, like, it should be like 12, and then the next person should almost be a blank for the rank or 12th, but they'll put them 13th. It just annoys me that they do that. It's not how you do rankings.
Thank you for bringing this up. So NHL.com, they launched a new website like a few weeks ago.
Oh, it's broken. Everything's broken. The top 100 player things are all broken.
But even if you go into a particular player's stats and like you go to their like career stats, they don't total anymore.
Oops.
It's let's you got some like kid in there who's so excited to add like his like new design flashes and takes away all the utility of the website.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So not to distract from Luke Robitaille, but I just that was bugging me. So Robitaille here's where I screwed up. Robitaille, I said, made the playoffs in 15 of his 17 NHL seasons. I think it's 17 out of 19, compiling 58 goals, 69 assists for 127 points in 159 NHL playoff games played. Robitaille began his career by having 8 straight seasons of 84 or more points. Robitaille would also rack up 4 seasons of 100 or more points. In addition, in his first 8 seasons, Robitaille never scored less than 44 goals per season.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a fantastic stat. Again, remember, this was a high-scoring era, but still, that's a lot of goals. In your first 8 seasons, to never get less than 44 in a season is pretty crazy.
Is there a general consensus as to, and I've never heard this, why that era had so many goals scored and points?
I don't know if it's partly due to the players, the goaltending, the training. I don't know.
The rules,
puck.
maybe.
I mean, I know we've had certain areas like the dead puck era. You have rules, but was it the late 90s, like the clutch and grab era, basically forced Lemieux out of the game, all that stuff. I don't think was as prevalent back when he started, but I could be wrong. I know there's definitely different eras, and I'm sure there's been studies on why scoring was up so much in this kind of era.
Hockey Illuminati
determining what's going on. Best season of his NHL career from a point standpoint was his 1992-93 season, where Robitaille had 63 goals, 62 assists for 125 points in 84 games played. All right, Josh. Robitaille is one of the greatest NHL players to ever play and a Kings legend. If you want to know why we're laughing and you're just listening to audio, I did find a fantastic picture of Robitaille that's on the YouTube. And I think it was after he retired. It's probably from an alumni game or something. But it's fantastic. So here's the deal. So obviously Kings legend, great player. What's kind of sad for me when I think about Robitaille is that when he was playing, I don't think I rarely got to ever see him play, being the majority of his careers with the Kings. It was dang near impossible to watch a Kings game in Minnesota.
We couldn't watch a North Stars game.
Yeah, we couldn't watch our own team.
A Kings game.
Yeah, especially during his first 8 seasons in the league when he's basically in beast mode. He's 2 hours behind. NHL's kind of a way afterthought, even though we're supposed to be the state of hockey. So it's just really hard to watch Kings games. And I don't remember watching a lot of Robitaille during those first 8 seasons. He was great his whole career, but it was really hard to see a game of the Kings. When coming into the league, and I've kind of mentioned this, Robitaille was knocked for his unimpressive skating and his questionable toughness. However, the more you read about him and you read interviews, what teams kind of overlooked with him and what showed up during his career was his incredible hockey intelligence, his drive, and his obsession with putting the puck in the net, which is kind of just, he knew he wasn't the greatest skater, so he had to focus all his energy on being a goal scorer, being a playmaker, doing the things he could do well, instead of just focusing on the one thing he was terrible at, which was skating. Robitaille also had one of the best one-timers in hockey. He had a knack of being able to create space to give himself that extra split second to get his shot off. In reading Robitaille's story, and he has said this himself, he owes his career to one man, and he was a part-time scout, and his name was Alex Smart. Unfortunately, he's passed away, but Alex Smart was the one person who actually believed in Robitaille and was in the ear of the Kings for about 2 to 3 years, even up to the second they drafted him, to telling them to draft Robitaille because he was going to be special. And it still took him to whatever it was, the 171st pick or whatever, 109. I can't remember what I said.
I wonder how many part-time scouts there are.
I think this was back in the day. So, like, I know part-time scouts were a big thing. They're still pretty big, I think, in baseball. But I think the NHL has went to a little more full-time stuff. And now you have European scouts, which was not around for a long time. And you have all these, it's more full-time scouts now, I think. But this Alex Smart, he was part-time scout, and then he worked full-time at a tire company for 40 years. So it's kind of crazy. I think they've it's more streamlined now.
Makes me think of that Flight of the Conchord song where you're so pretty you could be a part-time model. Go look that up on YouTube, anyone, if you've never seen it. It's really funny.
Yeah, even in college, my college baseball coach was a part-time scout for the Rangers. So really? And I think baseball is kind of crazy when they go in the.
He didn't recommend you or what?
No. No. All right, Wayne Gretzky would state, "There's nobody who wanted to score more desperately than Luc Robitaille. He made himself a Hall of Famer." So high praise from the great one. Yeah. After his playing career in 2006, Robitaille became the president of the Omaha Lancers of the USHL. Side note, I have been to Omaha Lancer games. I don't know if they still play there, but they played at a rink called Exarban, which is Nebraska backwards. And it was fantastic. They would have, if I remember right, it was every time the Lancers scored, it was like 25-cent beer. So the Lancers would score, and the whole crowd would like run up and try to get as much beer as they could, and then get back to their seats. It was crazy. Wow. Yeah, Lancer games were fun. Then on May 25th, 2007, Robitaille was named the Kings President of Business Operations and also the Kings Alternate Governor. I always want to say alternator there, but alternate governor. On April 10th, 2017, Robitaille was named President of the LA Kings. Since joining the Kings in a management role, the team has won 2 Stanley Cups in 2011-12 and 2013 and 14. So he has 1 cup as a player with the Red Wings, 2 cups with the Kings in management. So that's kind of our overview. Fun, interesting facts, Josh. Robitaille is currently second all-time for goals, assists, and points by a left winger in NHL history.
Why am I blanking on who's ahead of him?
Ovechkin would be goals. I think Busek is one. If I remember right. I didn't write who's first on all of them, but I know Ovi, I think, is for goals. Robitaille does hold the record for most points in a single season by a left winger in NHL history. Robitaille.
Well, until this year with Taylor Hall playing with Connor Bedard.
Oh, there you go. No kidding. Robitaille, who was the 171st draft pick, and former teammate Dave Taylor, who was the 210th overall draft pick, are the lowest NHL draft picks to have recorded 1,000 career points. I love that stat.
Wow, that's awesome.
A fun one. During the 1984 NHL entry draft, the Kings drafted future Baseball Hall of Famer Tom Glavine in the 4th round, over 100 spots before Luc Robitaille.
I didn't know Tom Glavine was a hockey player.
Yeah,
did you?
Yep, I did. Oh, yeah.
Is he Canadian?
I think so. I think he was a really good hockey player. All right, Josh, here is a line in his NHL 100 bio, and I want your reaction. Robitaille was regarded as a prospect with not much more potential than a team mascot. Thank you, NHL, in the bio. That's pretty cold-hearted right there, but I guess it shows how far he actually came to be a great player in the NHL.
Definitionally a backhanded compliment there.
Yeah, I guess.
But maybe if it's gritty or buoy, then an okay comparison.
Well, if you're deranged, I mean, he in this picture I've shown, he looks kind of deranged.
He does. He really does.
Robitaille scored his first NHL goal and NHL point in his first NHL game. And it happened on the same play when Marcel Dion scored his 1,600th point in the NHL.
So obviously Dion assisted.
Yes.
On Robitaille's first goal.
Yeah. Final one. Robitaille has had appearances in a pretty good amount of TV shows and movies. He has appeared in the TV show Bones, the TV show How I Met Your Mother, He has also appeared in the movie Sudden Death, which is a classic. If anyone remembers, I think is that the Jean-Claude Van Damme where they're at the Pittsburgh Penguins, the igloo. I think that's the movie. I'll have to look that up too.
Can Luke Robitaille do the splits on 2 chairs like Jean-Claude Van Damme can do?
Yeah, maybe. He also appeared in the movie D2, The Mighty Ducks, and voiced himself in an episode of Phineas and Ferb. So Hollywood legend Luke Robitaille. He actually has he's got a pretty big in-depth IMDb page. So that kind of
no kidding, man.
All right, so that's Robitaille. His rookie card, 1987-88 OPG, number 42. PSA 10 is a pop of 126 with a gem rate of 7.5%. If you're looking at the YouTube video, you can see it on the screen. Last sale I could find of this card was on August 29th of this year for $781.31 US. And that was made via eBay and verified in Terapeak. Highest sale I could find, and this was very interesting to me. Highest sale I could find was on April 2nd of this year via PWCC for $930 US. I think number 2 and 3 were from 2021. I always just assume it's going to be this 2021 COVID one, but it was actually April of this year.
I have a really important question for you.
Yes, there's a Topps version. Is that what you want to know?
No.
Oh.
Just looking at the card where he's in the purple and gold, kind of Lakers colors, Kings jerseys. What do you prefer? Do you like the silver and black, or would you want them to go back to
purple and gold? I'm purple and gold all the way. I love the crown. I love that it's intricate. I love those jerseys.
Yeah. Well, Luke Robitaille, Troy, real good job. Learned a lot. Phineas and Ferb. He was in the Mighty Ducks, even though you poo-pooed the Mighty Ducks last time we talked about it. Yeah, that's okay. All right, we're going to move on to continue our 2023-24 preview series. And today we're going to talk about selling tips during what actually might be the best time of the year to sell your hockey cards. Got to do it now because we're in that 2-week window, 2-ish week window, maybe, I guess is a better way to put it, before the regular season starts. And as we know, this is typically one of those like I said, probably the best time of year to sell your cards. And if you ask, well, why? At the beginning of the season, Troy, every team's undefeated, even our Wild. We're undefeated, Troy. How you like that? Hope is high for your favorite players. Right? Nobody's gone 7 games without a goal or a point at this point. And while we've all been without hockey now since June. So I think with all of us collectors and NHL fans, the adrenaline's pumping. Cannot wait for the season to start. So that creates an environment where there's lots and lots of people that tend to buy hockey cards. We've gone through some of our favorite cards already, some of the favorite players coming into the season. We have some more to cover in the next few shows. Going to do a lot of rookie heavy stuff. And undoubtedly you guys have your favorites too. And many collectors are going to be looking to snatch their picks. These guys that we're kind of looking at right before the season starts, and hopefully hit it big with a couple maybe young players or vets that we think are going to break through. There also, Troy, I thought of this. There could be a fair amount of people that are maybe unloading some of their lesser loved or unwanted PC items to maybe free up some capital for what looks like to be a very crazy and expensive Bedard chase this year.
Expensive, and we're going to get into this, but trying to find it. I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's going to put more supply in the market over the next few weeks or not. But I think regardless, you can expect a lot of volume of cards to be moving, really starting now and then heading up right before the season starts. So those last few days, that weekend, especially before the season, I would think would be a good kind of peak for definitely over the last 5 or 6 months.
Yeah, if you're looking for something to happen or that peak without performance, actually, when we've looked at history, you always see the dips in the summer, and then that week or two we see where the season it just starts picking right back up again, and then it's more performance based. So that's kind of the
way it works typically. Yeah. Others will rightfully point to before the playoff start as another key selling time, which is certainly true. What I think now is a bit better though is in the spring. It's the key movers and shakers that really peak during that time are the guys that are going to be in the playoffs. Well, right now, like we said, every team's undefeated. Everyone's in play from a hype and hope perspective, and so you have it's just a narrower pool of people that are more relevant when it comes to that that week or so weekend before the playoffs start. But it's definitely true that that's another great time to sell as well. Now, just because though that there's going to be a lot of demand, it does not mean that prices for all players are going to be at their highest through the year. Kind of like you said, Troy, they should be picking up a little bit from what we've seen in the summer. Maybe it's been a little bit flat. Maybe guys are a little bit down. But once the season starts, it's going to be what happens in the games that drives really the momentum to their prices. But you'd still think over the next 2 weeks we're going to see a little bit higher prices than we would during the summer. That's actually or that would be the prevailing thought. Which kind of lands us on a key point here. Selling is always a risk. You're never guaranteed to get the money you hope and expect.
Yep.
I was watching the Jeremy Lee, who does the PWCC premiere auction show with Adam Gray, and I think Karn from Slapshocks is on there too.
Hmm.
And Jeremy sold the Gretzky rookie in the September premiere that just ended last Thursday. And it did not sell for, it was like a OPG 8, I think, or something like that, or maybe a tops. I can't remember what it was. But it sold for like five, six, $7,000 less than mini cards that have sold for. And I don't bring this up to, if you're listening, Jeremy, to pour salt in the wounds. But what I appreciate a lot about Jeremy. But one of the things I really appreciate about him is just his mindset when coming to selling cards. He
Yeah.
technically, I think, did everything right. It's September. We're coming into the season. Hype should be up. Hope should be there. He looked at the last comps over the summer. They had sold for
Yeah.
more. And so logic would tell you that, well, it should sell at least for what it sold in August, if not maybe hopefully a little bit more.
Hmm.
And it didn't work out in this case. Now he's had plenty of wins on the other side too.
Yeah.
But it was a great opportunity to see somebody live and in the moment because his cards are auctioning and they're ending as he's
Yeah.
doing this live YouTube show. And really just to see kind of his, like I said, his mindset of, well, this is what happens when you sell cards. Sometimes you win some, you lose some. I'm not going to be all depressed about it, but this is
Yeah.
the risk you take when you sell your cards. And so I think that that's, unless you're going to have like more like a fixed offer or like a one-to-one sale where you say, this is my price and I'm going to hold
Yep.
the card till I sell it. If you're going to do any sort of auction, it's going to be a risk. And like I said, I appreciated his healthy mindset towards it, and then the ability for others to kind of see that example. But it is a risk.
Hmm.
No way around that. So we want to give some tips if you do want to sell some cards over the next few weeks. A lot of these are common sense, but hopefully there'll be a reminder of maybe some things you've forgotten or gotten away from or gotten a little lazy about, which happens to me sometimes too. And
Well,
if we could,
it's like going back and studying your notes again. you got to review your notes every once in a while.
we're going to start with eBay too because it's the biggest
Yep.
marketplace. So it makes sense to start there. I think, as most people probably know, there's really two core types of listings that you can do on eBay. There's auction and buy it now. So just to cover, we talked about the risks of auctions a little bit,
Yep.
like what happened to Jeremy in that case. So why would you choose an auction? Well, there's going to be potentially more upside than a buy it now. You may
Yep.
underprice a card that you just put up for sale with a fixed offer price, and auctions create an environment of competition.
Yep.
So if you hit the right day with the right people that are really interested in that card, that can drive up the price because we all get swept up in the moment when we find a card we want. And well, hey, if I was going to pay $500, what's 550 at this point to get the card I
Yep.
really want,
Yep.
right? I think another benefit of auctions is that if your goal is to sell the card, you're going to sell it. Now, you may not
Yes.
sell it exactly for the price you would want to,
Yep.
but the card's going to move. And I found myself at times too, Troy, like where I've been maybe more conservative and lean more towards the buy now, where I just don't end up selling my cards.
Yeah.
And there can be a risk to that because, yeah, maybe I would get $20 less than my buy it now price, but that card might be worth $60 less 3 months from now if I
Yep.
don't sell it too. So you gotta kind of weigh a lot of factors and consider a whole lot of variables when trying to figure out what type of listing you want to do. I think in a way too, Troy, that one of the things I appreciate about auctions is that they really tell you what the true value of the card is today.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the point too, is that the hockey market is a lot like the stock market where values change every day.
Yep.
Just because sometimes we maybe overinflate or over rely on comps and we get very rigid around comps. And I'm guilty of this too. But oh yeah, a card sold 6 weeks ago for $100. What has to be worth 100? Maybe it's not, right? Maybe that was a day where two people really competed and there isn't the same competitive environment today. Who knows what the reason could be? But if you want to find out really what your card is worth today, probably an auction is the best way to do that. Now, if you're going to do an auction, we'd probably recommend doing a 7-day auction. And then the big thing is making sure it ends at a key buying time.
Yep.
It seems like Thursday and Sunday nights have become the popular auction ending dates. You want to kind of factor where you live and pick a time to end that for all North Americans is a good time for somebody that might be on the East Coast or the West Coast, right? Because that'll, you don't want to do it during dinner time. You don't want to do it in the middle of the night when people are already
Yep.
asleep. You kind of want to do it when people are settling in for the evening, relaxing, maybe have a little bit of free time, have done their daily responsibilities, and are able to look at some auctions. So I think, I don't know, do you have like a favorite time that you like to end your auctions?
I always just do Sunday night, usually
What
around.
what time do you pick?
I usually do around 8, anywhere. Well, actually, I'll say 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time. Excuse me, which would put it at the latest 11 p.m. or sorry, 10 p.m. on the Eastern. And say I did that 9 p.m. That would be 10
It's
p.m.
7 on the West
Eastern,
Coast.
7 on the West Coast. But it's usually in that window. I've never actually really strayed from that. I think I always do Sunday nights. And one thing that kind of annoys me sometimes with eBay, if it's when you list it, you can schedule the auction, but sometimes on Saturday I want to list cards, but then you have to like schedule it for Sunday. And if you forget, now it's
Yeah.
ending on Saturday if you did a 7-day auction. But no, I think
Oh, yeah.
it's just little stupid things like that you got to remember. But yeah, I always end Sunday nights.
Almost everyone recommends if you're going to do an auction to start the bidding at 99 cents too. I get it. It can be scary.
Yeah.
If you have $1,000, $2,000 card, where the temptation, like, so let's say it's a $2,000 card again. The temptation is, well, I'm going to start the bidding at $500 because it's a $2,000 card.
Mm-hmm.
That scares bidders away. You want to get the bidding going, get people competing, get people invested in the cards. And when that person makes that $10 bid on your $2,000 card, that there's an important buy psychology of
Yeah.
buyer or line that's crossed there where now they've committed themselves to competing for this card. Where if you have that opening bid of $500, it's just going to scare
Yep.
a lot of people unnecessarily away. But it is unnerving, right?
Yep.
When
Yep.
you
Well,
see a
because you think
$3
that
bid,
you're going to
come in
sell
for
the PSA 10 Gretzky for $1,000 because you started it at 99 cents. It's not going to happen. If you're smart and you know what your card's worth, yeah, it might not be go for the minimum, but if you're so worried about the price, do it, buy it now then. But if you want people competing and kind of driving that price up where you could get more than what your minimum is, then yeah, 99 cents and let it fly.
Well, you mentioned by now, and we'll kind of transition to that, and that's the risk adverse way to sell.
Yep.
If you really can't stomach the idea of going through an auction, or sometimes it gives people anxiety, right? Like they worry all week that they're not getting enough bids or nobody's because. And the thing too about what
Mm-hmm.
I think adds extra anxiety to sellers is most of the auction activity happens in the last 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So you've got a whole week's worth of maybe potential anxiety that builds up around that. Or if you'd be really annoyed and that your car sells maybe for $200 less than you thought it would,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe a buy it now is better for you. But you just got to remember that if you overestimate the value, it might not sell.
Mm-hmm.
And the value, like we said, the value of the cards could go down, or you're just gonna be sitting on it for a long time. Now you can hedge your bet with buy it nows and allow potential buyers to make offers, but you got to remember in that case, though, if you price a card at $300 and you say it's open to offers, the price isn't $300.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that, right? You're
Yeah.
going to take less,
Yeah.
and so then you have to kind of balance that game of, well, then I almost need to price it more than what I want
Yep.
to sell it for, but I
Yep.
don't want to price it so much that people just look at this and this guy is insane.
Yeah.
this card's worth $200 and he's got a $600 buy it now with best offer,
Yeah.
right? So you got to really understand and do a lot of research and look at what cards sell for. And I think too, like as I've seen you use buy it now, and I'd love for you to comment on this. One of your strategies is not to where I think people are tempted often to put a card for 15% more than the last sale. You put it for
Hmm.
15% under the last sale, and then they move, right?
Yeah. I usually am pretty good about, as long, I mean, if I'm trying to, if I'm, it's one I'm trying to flip or something, which I don't flip a lot. Believe me, people, I do not flip a lot. I might watch the price a little more, but if it's stuff I want to move, I'm pretty good about finding the comp or finding a close value and then putting it a little bit under that just because I want it to move. I use buy it nows as I want to kind of move stuff, but I still want to get a halfway decent price. Where auctions, I want to move stuff and I don't care what I get for it. Is basically
Yeah.
how I look at it. And yeah, for buy nows, I do definitely price just a little under comps. And it could be 10 to 15% just because
Mhm.
I know it will sell and I want to move it.
What do you do more of? Do you typically do more buy it now or
Buy
more
nows
auction?
by far.
Okay.
I would bet
And
it's
what's
like
the reason for that?
90 10, 90 10 probably. Even it might be 95 to 5 auction versus or buy it nows versus auction.
Do auctions
90%.
stress you out?
No,
No.
I just I just like getting them out. I just put them out there and buy it nows and call it
Okay.
good. I think I haven't done. I've talked about this for a while, but doing like lots of players or team, or like
Yeah.
some lot stuff, I would auction off. I would just put those out there for 99 cents and just watch and see what happens. Wouldn't
Yeah.
stress me out. I've never got stressed out about auctions because I don't think I've put anything out there that's that high that I'd be so worried about it.
Yeah. Now, let's say you had a big card like Jeremy's done, and like the premier, lots of people do in the premier auction.
Yeah,
Would you get like if you have a card that you think is worth 25 grand and you decide to sell it? How are you checking the auction like 750,000
I,
times that
I
week?
see. I would like to say no. I'd be fine. I wouldn't check it. Yeah, I'd probably be a nervous wreck
I'd be a
with
wreck. I'd be
refresh
a wreck.
or F5, F5, F5. No refreshing.
Yeah. Well, I guess good thing we don't have that problem, huh, Trey? Kind of transitioning away from eBay a little bit too is there's lots of marketplaces, there's lots of
Mhm.
ways to sell cards. And one of the things that I'm becoming more and more, I think, interested in and a believer in, I guess, might be a good way to put it, is listing your cards on multiple marketplaces to
Mhm.
expose them to larger buying audiences. There's tools out there like Mascot and maybe a couple others that honestly we don't know enough about, but there are these inventory management tools that supposedly will help you manage listings on multiple marketplaces. So the biggest drawback of a multiple marketplace is you sell a card on eBay or even in person, like at our card show yesterday, which we'll get into great detail later. I sold a couple cards and then about 15 hours later, panicked today because I didn't remove those cards from my card post. So I had to quickly go
Yeah.
there and take those cards down. And so that's but there are some advantages to listing cards and platforms that are not eBay because like whether it's my card post or selling on a Facebook group or something like that, you can maybe sell the card and avoid those commissions or fees that
Yeah.
stink, frankly.
I'm gonna jump in here really quick because we had a listener. We brought up mascot before, and we had a listener ask us a question, and it was like the wrong. They couldn't find the site, and I just looked. Just I'm gonna put it up here in case anyone heard that and wants to look at it. The website is withmascot.com. I think the last time we just said mascot, and then someone found like it was like a anime game or a mobile game or something, and they were all confused. But it's
It was like a
with
role playing
mascot.
game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like a role playing game. So it's the website is withmascot.com. If you heard us say that and you want to check it out, we have no affiliation with them. We've never used them. I can't vouch for them one bit, but it's just in case you heard it and wanted to see it.
Yeah, I think the big thing about these type of tools is that they're coming. So that
Yeah.
they're gonna whether it be mascot that ends up being the market leader or somebody else that are gonna help you do this
Yep.
is a really good thing. So again, beyond like eBay, there's places like my car post, which we use all the time and do a lot of deals on because you can trade and not pay fees and all that stuff too. There's Facebook groups. I've seen or hearing more and more about like discords that some even have subscriptions that you pay for
Yeah.
that are buy sell groups. And so the more you can get your cards out there to
Yep.
communities of hockey card collectors, I think the greater chances you'll find that collector that really appreciates the card that you're selling. And then beyond that, there's the auction houses. Like, we of course favor PWCC because they sponsor us and we think they're a
Yeah.
great platform and have a rich history in hockey, but there's Golden and Heritage too. And what's been interesting about these auction houses is they've worked more and more to cater not just to the huge $25,000 plus cards, but they all have weekly auctions, fixed marketplaces,
Yeah.
and things like that.
Figured out
Well,
volume. Volume helps, right? So a
100%.
lot of small cards, you get a lot of money.
And then maybe, I think we need to mention consignment services too. And I haven't
Yep.
used consignment services much. I'll probably bring a lot of cards to the expo, and I think I'm going to try out Slap Sharks, our
Okay.
partner, because they specialize in hockey and have a lot of
Yep.
great cards there too. But you might be thinking, yeah, I hear you, but man, all this just it sucks. I don't like selling cards either. It's not fun for me. So I know some people really dig it, and they love the art of the deal and wheeling and dealing, and
Hmm.
so to try to learn all the optimal times, strategies for buy it now versus auctions, doing your listing correctly, taking great photos. Maybe you don't want to do all that. And the best option is just to let the experts handle it. Find a consignment service. So in Canada, of course, Slap Sharks is the big one. I don't know as many in the US because I don't use consignment services, but I know like with 90s cards and I by following Frank Porco's stuff, like I think there's one
Yeah.
called Volume Accumulation that does
Oh,
I don't know if they're 90s specifically. I kind of think they are. And there might be some other ones too that people can chime in, but there's the consignment service is always an auction, but there is a lag time there. So if you're going to use
yeah.
one, you should probably do it fast. And if you want to kind of get your cards for sale during that peak time. As far as like other marketplaces or ways or avenues to sell, did I forget anything, Troy? Do you have any other
Oh,
comments
well,
on
there's
that?
a ton others we could list. When you were talking, I think I'm going to put together a list and maybe reach out to our Discord members, and we're going to put together this master list of all the places you could sell or buy cards, and either put it on our website, put it on the Discord or something. Because I think I've started this document 15 times probably, and now I just want to do it because there's like ComC, which that falls under like there's all these online platforms. We're not going to list every single one of them out, but there's just other things out there that
Yeah.
maybe we don't even know about. That's the thing. There's just so many avenues to sell and buy your stuff. And I know we're talking about selling here, but I think I'm going to work on putting together a master list and maybe get that out there somewhere. Or there
That'd be
might be
nice.
one out there already. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess the last tip is more just some general reminders if you're selling cards and you're creating listings. And I kind of feel like, well, why should I have to say this? But I shop a lot for hockey cards and I run into this stuff every day and it
Yeah.
drives me crazy.
Yep.
And I can tell you guys, it costs you sales and money. It's flat out. As someone that buys a lot of hockey cards, I immediately turn off my attention to a cards when I see stuff like I'm going to go through right now.
Yep.
Number one, taking good photos.
Yep.
Make sure the photos are clear, they're bright. And if it's a card that I would even say like $50 more, $100 or more, take a little bit of time and take a photo of the front, take a photo of the back, take a photo of all four corners. We all have these like smartphones that have cameras that are like ridiculous.
Really good.
It's not that and you can edit, you can crop, you can zoom, you can brighten, you can add contrast to the photos to give the buyer a clear picture of the card we're getting. And what I'll never get over is so I do all of like our record sale posts
Yeah.
that a lot of people see on Instagram. And I'll do a post of a card that sold for $8,000. And the post looks horrible because the photo's awful.
It's
But
like
that's the
blurry.
photo somebody bought a car. It's like, how? I'm never spending that kind of money on a card I can barely see
Yeah.
in the photo that was on eBay or whatever platform that it's sold on. So just take a little bit of time. And I get it if it's dollar cards. Like
Yeah.
you're right, you got to risk sort of time and
Time. Yeah.
return on that. And then these are all like related to this, but also give like complete information about the card,
Yep.
like the card year, the set name, the player, the card name or parallel, is it numbered, so on and so forth. I was on a marketplace the other day and I was looking for like OV cards and there's some really great ones. And there's two cards that I found, and both were very similar in that it said like OV Auto.
Yep.
The guy's played for like what 19 years now, and I'm trying to like look at this card. The picture sucks. I'm trying to figure, well, what year is this? And I'm trying to look at the back, but it's blurry. And finally, I had to message a guy. He's like, "Can you tell me like what year and what card this is? How do you expect to sell a $1,500 Ovechkin
Yep.
auto when your description is OV Auto?"
Yeah, that stuff drives me crazy. I don't know why some people don't take the care, or maybe they just don't care. But another thing I'll say, kind of related to this, and this was like an eBay specific one. I've seen a lot of people do this where they'll copy a posting, which I do all the time, copy the posting, but not go through all the details. And so
Oh,
then when I search up, like, say I search for Ovechkin auto is my search, I might get a picture of, or I might find a Mitch Marner card that someone copied a OV description because it was the same card, but the auto they don't go through the tags, and it might say
geez.
auto yes, Alexander Ovechkin, which will then fall into that Alexander Ovechkin search for an auto.
Yeah.
There's stuff like that that drives me insane when people don't take the time to go through the details.
Then I would say, be honest. If there's a flaw in the card, list it in the description. Don't wait till a buyer gets the card and then discovers that it is not what they thought they were buying.
Yeah,
You got to play the
no,
long game here.
no
And
using Androids. I've seen the commercials where they can touch up photos, like they
oh,
can remove things from the photos very easily. No using
yeah,
that. No, no,
don't be shady.
don't misrepresent your card.
Be ready and responsive to answer buyer questions. I ask lots of questions about cards I buy, and if somebody doesn't respond to me or doesn't care to give a
Yep.
well thought out answer, then I just move on. I'm not gonna right because it puts up red flags when that happens.
Here's a question for you. Would you be annoyed? I've started to do this more where if I see something blatantly wrong, I'll message the person and just say, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know this is the wrong year or something." Just I don't do it that often, but if I see something so blatant, I will message the person. But I always it's like I've never want to be the guy that's yeah, I'm that guy. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with all your stuff. But
You're the hobby hall monitor trying.
well, it's like something I would appreciate. Like if I had the
Yeah.
wrong year or something, or the wrong card, like the set it's from, I would hope so. If someone saw it, I know you had that happen a long time ago when you were first getting on eBay. Someone told you that the card you were listing was a different set or something, and actually the card you had was a lot more valuable than what you had it listed for. Might have been a basketball card or something, if I remember
Yeah.
right.
Then, ship right away, ship with tracking, package your cards well,
No.
make sure they're in a penny sleeve. Don't use that 25-year-old yellow top loader that has a million scratches in it as you're trying to.
I love you said that because the personal pick segment, I put them in like these terrible top
Oh,
loaders.
great.
So don't do as I say, not as I do.
Make sure the cards don't bend, add
Yeah.
every like backing or rigid backing. Make it look good. I think presentation matters. And then the last piece of advice I give is if you're selling a card, promote your on your socials.
Yep.
People work so hard to build up these big Instagram followings or Facebook or Twitter followings. If you've got an eBay listing, share it with people. Who knows? Maybe a person that PCs that player or has always wanted that card will see it. And now you've added a little bit more competition, especially if it's an auction, or you may sell it faster if it's a buy it now or get a stronger offer. So, any other selling tips, Troy?
Oh, just be smart. Just be smart and make sure you present it in a good way. Use, I want to say, if you're, when you sell stuff and you use payment services or however you do it, make sure you protect yourself with whatever's available, like PayPal goods and services,
Yeah.
or use that third, like a Veriswap is something also out there. Maybe if you're doing a deal with someone on Instagram and you guys want to make sure both sides are protected, there's services like that you want to do. Have we done a hockey 101 on buying and stuff? I think did we? I can't remember.
No, that's next, I think.
No, that's next. There we go.
All right. It was a preview of that. Well, good luck. If any of you are planning to sell cards in the next couple weeks, it's going to be fun to track to see maybe who the big winners are coming into right at the start of the season. And like I said, hopefully we've given you maybe one or two things to think about that if that could make you a little bit more successful, maybe sell more cards or get a little bit more money, we'd be really pleased about that.
You know why Sunday is the big day? Because right now I'm getting about 500 reminders that auctions are ending on
Yeah.
eBay of cards I've watch list. So I'm sorry if my eyes peer down to see what card just popped up on eBay to tell me to don't forget to bid on it if you want it.
Well, Troy, it's time for us to mention Gongshow partner and sponsor Slab Sharks. Their current weekly eBay auction is live. I did spend some time this morning checking it
Yep.
out. Once again, God, it just
It's silly. It is absolutely silly.
silly. It's like a hockey collector's dream.
Yeah.
This auction every week. So I just picked out, I think, 5 cards that really stood out to me. There's a lot more,
Yep.
but the first one is a 2016 Upper Deck Austin Matthews Young Guns exclusives out of 100 PSA 10. Doesn't get much better than that if you're
Mhm.
like maybe a high gloss, but if you're a Matthews collector, but very, very nice card. Got the PSA 10 grade. Then I found this one, a 2021 OPG Platinum Cole Caulfield Rookie Autos Emerald Surge out of 10 PSA 9 Auto 10. Given this current release of
Yes.
OPG, I think a PSA 10 is like a black label.
Boy, this thing
Just,
is this thing is dead on for centering, isn't it? Or I mean, it's super close.
I think a lot of times these platinum cards get dinged on surface too.
Yeah, it's got a surface, and this upper left corner might
It's a very cool
be a
card.
tad not square, but wow, looks great.
Can I say something controversial too?
Yes.
One thing I like about this card is, and I know this is going to resonate with you, Cole Caulfield does not have a weird face in the.
Yeah.
Whoever at Upper Deck has like done him dirty with the different.
Those platinum previews from 2 years ago where he looked like quasi like he has a hunchback. He's like
Yeah.
it's really an awkward position. I stunk because I pulled the platinum preview. Was it the Red Surge out of 25 or something like that? It was really rare card, and it's horrible looking. I sold it. I was like, I don't want this.
I bet what you sold it for would be depressing now.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it would be.
So probably the biggest rookie over the summer.
Yeah.
It's a huge card.
Yep.
So it'll be really interesting to see where this one does. I love this next one, Troy. It's our guy.
Yep.
Kirill Kaprizov from 2020-21 the Cup. The
Oh,
retro RPA out of 10. This is
hard to get a four color wild patch. Wow. That's cool.
I want this card. I want it bad. All right. Next one, 2011-12, the Cup Wayne Gretzky. Scripted swatches patch auto out of 35 raw. Very cool Wayne card. He's got that all-star jersey with the NHL logo we love so much where it goes down, not up. Old school NHL logo.
He looks like he got surprised that they were taking a picture. He's like, oh, what? You're taking a picture.
He kind of looks too like maybe they photoshopped him in this jersey because isn't like his like head too small from the jersey?
And there's no boy, I wonder because there's no shadows anywhere down here. Interesting.
Still cool card though.
Yeah.
Gretzky auto from the Cup out of 35. I'll take that. And then the last one is a beauty clear cut Leon Draisaitl auto 101.
Nice.
2019 raw. Somebody on the show might have got a Draisaitl 101 this weekend. We'll talk about that later. Like I said, though, there's many, many other great cards in the auction this week. So be sure to head to slapsharks.com, check them out. Mark your favorites, place your bids. If you're a Canadian hockey cards collector looking to move some cards right now during this peak selling time, but don't want the hassle, worry, or bother of selling, then Troy and I would recommend checking out Slab Sharks for their eBay consignment services. They make it super easy to sell on eBay because, well, they do all the work, taking great images, listing your cards. They don't just say Oviato. They do a proper listing, answering buyer questions, hunting down payment, shipping to Canada and the U.S., handling any post-sale issues with the buyer. That might be the best reason.
Yes.
To go with Slab Sharks right there. Plus, you get your cards listed, and they're very popular and growing weekly eBay auctions. I mean, look at the cards we just went through, right? There's lots of people that are going to be looking through their lots and all the cards that they have posted. So you're going to get more potential buyers that way. So check out slapsharks.com for complete consignment information, including payout rates, and to start consigning your cards today. Happy news!
Happy news.
All right, Troy. Well, the TNT NHL studio team's contracts were extended. TNT has locked up their broadcast crew on long-term deals. That's the key here.
Yep.
Pick a pin in that. Troy, heading into the 2023-24 season, Wayne Gretzky, Paul Bissonnette, Anson Carter, Henrik Lundqvist, all signed multi-year extensions. They also signed ice level analyst Brian Boucher.
I love that.
Boucher?
Ice
Boucher.
level analyst. Come on. I get it. It's the guy in the little booth. I was thinking
That
when
gets hit
Pierre
by pucks.
Maguire. Yeah, Darren Pang down there. Like
He was a
fights.
goalie for a long time, wasn't he?
Yeah, Boucher. Yeah, he was a goalie.
And then their kind of lead announcing crew, Kenny Albert and Eddie Olczyk.
Olczyk.
What is it?
Olczyk.
Olczyk. Okay. Thank you for the correction.
For once, I think I knew one.
Good move in your mind, Troy? Them doing this?
Yes, I think their studio crew was far and away above what ESPN had. Obviously, Gretzky, even though like Bizanet even said on his podcast, you might have to poke him a couple times to wake him up, but he always has great insight, great stories.
Those
Bizanet,
Chelios.
Yeah. What was that?
Those Chelios.
Oh yeah, that's right. Chelios said that. Obviously, I think Biznet's probably grown his reputation even more with breaking the whole Babcock thing. And Bizanet doesn't hold back, so he's always fun to watch. Anson Carter, I think, has done a really nice job. Lundqvist is great. He gives a lot of good perspective on defense and the goalie side of the game. So I do enjoy him, and he's always looking really dapper. And they always want to know where he gets his hair cut, and then he'll never tell him, he said. And then for the announcing crew's fine. I like Kenny Albert, Eddie Olczyk. He's good too. He came back. He had a cancer scare, I think, like 5-6 years ago.
Okay.
Came back from that. I wish there could. I don't know how you get. Is there any new blood in the announcing realm of hockey? I don't know if there is, but it's always the same guy. It's kind of like the coach. It's always recycled. I wonder if there's anyone else out there, like some younger blood they could get in that might.
Should we try it?
Some more? Yeah, should we try it? But I mean, Kenny Albert's fine. Like Kenny Albert's fine with me.
I'm pretty happy about this move. I think there's really good chemistry that started to form last year, and it's going to take time.
Yeah.
For people give so much acclaim, and rightfully so, to the NBA crew, but they've been together for like 20 years.
Yeah, they've been there forever.
They have such great chemistry, and I think that obviously that's grown over the years, and so to commit to this, I think is really good from that perspective. The most genius thing they did was put Bissonnette next to Wayne Gretzky. I mean, if they were on the other side of the tables, I don't think it would work as well. Just to put basically Ebony and Ivory right next to each other, the most opposite type of people on earth. You never know what, and I think everyone's waiting for for Bissonnette to say something completely inappropriate to Wayne Gretzky, because there's nothing funnier than that.
And he technically could, because it's cable, so you don't. I mean, they don't have to follow the language rules or anything. Obviously, the NHL and TNT would probably have something to say about it. But
the other thing that I think is really important about this is the fact that it's a long-term contract. So it's a signal that TNT is fully committed to broadcasting NHL games in the U.S. Very important point there.
Yep.
We want to avoid at all costs NHL games going back to the turkey hunting channel like they were on for so many years here in the States. That sucks.
Agree.
So I'm very happy about this move, and I think it's good for NHL fans in the U.S.
Yeah.
Well, Troy, the preseason kicked off this weekend. There's lots of games going on today, but really the most visible thing was the 2023-24 NHL Global Series that kicked off this weekend in Melbourne, Australia. 2-game preseason series between the LA Kings and your Desert Dogs, the Arizona Coyotes. The teams ended up splitting, with each winning a game. One Saturday, Arizona won on Saturday, LA on Sunday. On Saturday, Arizona took game 1, 5-3. There's goals by Clayton Keller, Matthias Michelli, Lawson Krause, Logan Cooley, and Barrett Hayton. And then for LA, Adrian Kempe, Victor Arvidsson, and Trevor Moore scored. Sunday, LA got revenge, 1-3-2. Barrett Hayton scored again, and Travis Dermott for Arizona. And then on the winning side, Adrian Kempe's third goal in 2 games. He had 2 goals for 3 in 2 games. And then Jacob Moufrere added the other goal for the Kings. By the talk of the show, the card show we were at, and there's a Minnesota connection because Logan Cooley played for the Gophers. But everyone that came up to us was like, "Did you see the Logan Cooley goal today? The old spinorama that he did there?" So that was kind of cool to see him getting a little bit of shine on Saturday. I don't know, where do you rank that? How impressive was that goal to you?
Oh, it was really impressive, and just the composure he had with it. I mean, it wasn't out of control. He was just sliding the puck and had his little spinorama and just a great shot at the end to finish it. And it really stood out to me just how big he was. I
Yeah.
watched him with the Gophers. I just didn't realize he kind of looked like a man out there, like a huge guy. It was kind of fun to see.
In general, these global series are great and important, I think, for exposing the NHL outside of North
Yep.
America, helping to grow the game globally. The more the NHL can make these games happen, the better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The NBA committed for decades to
Yes.
exposing people outside the NHL. Now the NHL has to find a way to get our players involved in the international tournaments more.
Yep.
I think
Which
that's
they're
another
working on.
important piece, which
They're
they're
working
working
on
on.
that. Like they're thinking about bringing back, or they're trying to bring back the World Cup of hockey. I have two things about this global series in Melbourne. First of all, it gave me an absolute panic attack because I thought the season started because they were kicking off the
Yeah.
season in Australia, and I was like, we haven't done our draft for our fantasy league, and I panic attack for a little bit. And then second, did you see? So when was the first game? Was it Saturday?
Yes.
So did you see the ice on Friday night?
No.
It was melting. They had a lot of issues with the ice and getting it ready, and they weren't even sure they were going to be able to play these things, but they got it all fixed.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know if it was, I mean, it was at, was it Rod Laver Arena or something? I mean, it was an arena. It's not like it
Tennis
was
complex.
hot. It's not like, yeah, oh, it's a tennis complex, so not really built for hockey, but it's not like it was outdoors or anything. But yeah, there was a lot of concern if they were going to get this thing in because the ice was just not cooperating, but looks like they did.
The one thing I noticed over the weekend in the promotion of this, I'm gonna go back to the hockey Illuminati here. There's something going on with this Pierre-Luc Dubois thing because the articles I've been seeing are ridiculous. There was one like the headline like on NHL.com was PLD has fun hanging out with rugby players from like really? Is it that slow of a news day? We're pumping out articles about like that PLD is a nice guy at this
Yeah.
point? There's
Yeah.
something going on here.
Yeah.
Our last hobby news story is see more and more articles out there speculating about Connor Bedard's line mates. The last
Yep.
one has, and there's some quotes from the team, so it looks like this is going to happen, that they're going to try out Taylor Hall at the left wing. And a lot of
Okay.
people are excited about that possibility. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of combinations. Most teams switch lines and try to figure out that a lot. And when you got a guy like Bedard who's never played in the league, I'm sure it'll happen quite a bit. But it did make me think, though, Troy, like once his lines settles, what's that going to mean for the hobby markets for the guys that play alongside him? If it is Taylor Hall, could we see like a resurgence that reignites Hall's hobby market here? Just, hyped by proxy, just playing
Yeah.
with Connor Bedard. And then you have to look at the other side of that. Well, Taylor Hall's going to be playing left wing. Well,
Yeah.
another left wing is Lucas Reichel, who everyone's
Cards shot up to the moon after the draft or after
yeah.
Bedard was picked. Reichel, because everyone thought he was going to be the left wing.
So if he's not, and Reichel's played like 12 NHL games, so I'm not saying he deserves to
Yeah.
be the left wing for Connor Bedard, but that could throw a little bit of a wet blanket on the Reichel steam there too, if it does end up being Taylor Hall. And then you got to ask, well, who's the right wing going to be? Is it the prevailing wisdom as of right now seems to be Taylor Radish, who is a younger guy, and could that pump up his hobby market a little bit too? And could these guys produce more points than they? It's the whole McDavid effect, right? That you talk about with a lot of players. And then you look at the power play, right? Who's ends up on the power play? So it's just a lot of interesting questions. Given there's like the insane amount of hype around Connor Bedard, what do you think, Troy? Is that going to impact the hobby markets of the guys that play with him, especially if as a line they produce a lot of points?
Yeah, for sure. I think it will. And once it gets solidified, I mean, look at the hype that happened for Reichel, just even after the draft, how everyone went after him. So I think once it gets finalized, I think it will. Personally, I want to know how long did you spend looking at nicknames for this line? Can you come up with any nicknames for Connor Bedard, Taylor Hall, and Taylor Radish?
Prepare to go broke. That's my nickname as of right now. Taylor Hall is a 2010 Young Gun. His PSA 10 popped 225. Last sold Troy for $79 on September 17th. Interestingly, down 37% the past 3 months.
That might be a play right there. I mean,
that's a play. That
might be a play.
Troy's play of the day. Oh, Troy's play of the day.
I'll just say it's a play of the day and then watch it and be like, "Oh, good job," or "Haha, you guys." I didn't say anything about that. What are you talking about? And
then Taylor Radish is a 2021 Young Gun. His PSA 10 pop 82. 74% gem rate. Talk about play of the day, Troy. That's sold for
31.
$31 September 7th.
Yeah.
You can't buy that card and grade it for that.
Yeah.
So if you want to try to be, a Fox the Fox and think that there's gonna be a Taylor Radish hype if he plays with Connor Bedard, pretty cheap to get in there. Well, we got to go to new product releases. I was actually planning to skip this today.
No, do not skip this. This is craziness.
Then I woke up this morning, Troy, checking my phone, going through emails, and I see a note from David Adams that's, very marketing-y.
Yeah.
Says, you better hurry. Supplies are about to run out of 2023-24 Series 2. And I'm like, what? Really? So I click on the link and boom, sold out.
Yep.
Now, Steel City still has some, so I'm not saying it's sold out everywhere. But David Adams selling out their pre-sale in 5 days. Wow. And Troy, do you remember way back one show ago when we were flabbergasted that pre-sales were $200 a hobby box? Do you remember that?
Well, I'm Hockey Card Illuminati on this. We kind of talked about this a little bit. I almost wonder if they did this on purpose and then they're going to come back and price will now be $250. And they'll be like, oh, you better. I mean, we sold out 5 days last time. Who knows how quick it'll go this time? And it seems, I don't know. I mean, they could have truly went through their allocation, what they think they're going to get. But man, this is set up right just to raise the price again.
It might be smart market. I don't know if ethical marketing. I'm not sure, but smart marketing. Nonetheless, you don't know when they'll maybe allocate more. Yeah, when they do these pre-sales, how much do they put up for sale versus how much do they even know what they're getting from Upper Deck at this point? So there's a lot of sort of unanswered questions or variables that you just don't know. But as much as we were complaining about $200 boxes to sell out in 5 days is maybe gives us a clear picture of what is likely to be coming, ahead in that regard. And Troy, I'm going to say this again. I've said it before. I'm going to say it a lot. I'm going forward over the next year or two. I'm not sure the hobby has ever seen this level of hype. And I don't think we should be surprised by anything that is Connor Bedard related anymore.
I agree with you. I mean, nothing should surprise us now with just what's been going on. I just wanted to verify, even at the time of recording this, 4 p.m. Central Time on Sunday, Steel City still does have pre-orders for Hot Series 2. You said it, but I just confirmed it.
When you look at Bedard, though, and you try to compare him to anything that's happened before in the hobby, he's been in the top 10 players for hockey cards sold all year, and he doesn't have any NHL cards.
His NHL card is an MVP redemption.
Yeah, I guess he has two. Sort of technically one.
Yeah, maybe
He's had 274 pre-NHL sales of more than $1,000.
Wow.
Speaking of the MVP redemption,
there you go.
7 sales of those for more than 1,000, and 55 sales of his MVP redemptions for more than 500.
How can that card be going for $1,000? No way.
There's the gold.
Is that the gold one? Yeah, I forgot. Sorry, that was
And now we have flagship pre-sales selling out at really big online retailers in the United States.
Yep.
I mean, Canada's one thing. This kid has never played a game. I mean, did you ever think that flagship would sell out in a pre-sale?
Nope.
And then I was thinking, well, we weren't paying nearly the attention we were when Crosby and McDavid came out. I don't even know if you can compare it. It's different times, different eras. The hobby were completely different environments. If Connor Bedard was drafted today in this current environment, I'm sure the bonanza would be about the same, maybe even more. Who knows? So I'm not trying to say that but I think if you just look at the total amount of hype, that I don't think there's anything you can compare what's happening right now with this Bedard kid. You can't deny it's nuts. Right. And it feels almost impossible to predict what's going to happen going forward. That's the thing, too, that part of that's fun, right? That we can't know at all what to expect, but it's going to make it really challenging to try to figure out as a collector if you want to get in on the hype to figure that out, too. I don't know. I mean, how do you predict what's going to happen at this point?
Yeah. Coin flip. Actually, no. I'm the believer. I'm the Bedard believer. The Bedard hype train. We'll get to the hype train in mailbag.
So again, getting back to the sales, we have no idea how much were sold on David Adams, and some of the Canadian retailers that are, again, part of me thinks it's savvy marketing and
Yeah.
come up with another allocation a month from now and it'll be $250 a box or something like that. But yeah, what is that your guess? Do you think it's more just kind of crafty supply
I do.
demand market manipulation?
I think it's more crafty stuff, more marketing. I It
I'm
just
nervous when I'm
seems,
playing the long game on this. Like I'm not biting for
yeah.
ridiculous high pre-sales, and I might be looking at a $700 flagship box. I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
Our last quick mention, just a new product release is just a reminder that on Wednesday, 2022-23 SPX comes out. So we'll talk about that on Thursday's show. Well, Troy, it was our big day yesterday.
It was. We don't have any pictures. We didn't take any pictures of our actual setup.
It was a total gong show. That's why. We lived up to our name in spades yesterday.
Yes.
And a hobby first for us, we set up a table at a local card show for the very first time ever for either of us. Like I said, we lived up to our name. While everything did turn out great, it was a bit of a gong show. And largely, folks, this is going to be a tale of what not to do when setting up as a dealer at a card show. So buckle up and hopefully learn from our ridiculousness. Now, Troy, normally in life, I think being prepared is definitely a good thing. I try to be prepared more often than not. I'm going to give us a C minus in this area yesterday, and it's largely going to be based on me because, well, I'll get into it.
Yeah, I give myself an A on my card setup because I had one card.
Now, if we're going to make excuses for lack of preparation, it is a 3-show week, and then we had this card show, which we've never done before in the middle, so it's been a lot. But I'm not big on excuses, but that's the reason. It's just been, with the 101 episode coming out on Saturday. And then plus for me, Troy, my wife's been out of town all week. So as my daughter put it, dad's holding down the fort, quote unquote. So between doing our 3 podcasts, rides to school, rides to hockey practice, laundry, I think I did like half of a load of laundry. When we were at the show yesterday, my wife texted me a photo of the laundry room and just said, "Can you help me understand what's happening here?" And I said, I don't know. Sorry. And dinners. And I also can confidently say that through the week, I was trying to think yesterday, like I just have such a bad memory. At least 3 dinners were not frozen pizza. So I did a good job as, Mr. Momming it this week. Well, I ended up you brought 1 card. We'll get into that. But I brought a bunch of cards to maybe sell, is I guess the way to put it. And I priced none of them. Not a good idea when you're going to a price. So I was the guy when someone would come to our table and say, "Oh, how much for this card?" I'd be like, I don't know.
Hold on. Let me look it up.
Not a good look. Super annoying. But we'll get back to the wheeling and dealing in a minute. So preparation, C minus. Next is presentation. I'm gonna give us a solid B here. We had a backdrop made. It's the one that if you're watching on YouTube behind Troy. So other than it being way too big, I think it looks because we had side by sides tables, and we're kind of on like a small like end cap. Would that be a good way to put it at the show?
Yeah.
And then we had our banner, and then we were kind of partnered up with My Card Post, helping them promote a little bit because it's a sponsor. Hey, we help our guys out. And between our really big banner and their really big banner, it kind of didn't fit. So we had to like twist and turn and come up with angles to not be completely obnoxious to all the people next to us, but still, let our banners fly here a little bit.
Let our freak flags fly.
Then I got to talk about our cases.
These are awesome. This is the best. I give us an A+ on the cases.
No, they were horrible. Very special cases. So again, this card show is an experiment for us. We don't know if we're ever going to do it again. And if you've ever looked into cases, they're like really expensive.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go out and spend $300-$400 on cases and it being a one-time thing. For the last month, I've been scouring Marketplace and found these 2 aluminum, good size cases. They've got a glass tops, $20 each, Troy. And the best part is, and if anyone that does any Marketplace shopping knows, it was like 12 minutes from our house.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm in. So I messaged person, I'll take them. I can pick them up tonight. I go and gives me the address, head to their house. So it's south of us in Lakeville, where they say Jake Ottner's from. just from, even though he's from our town. But it's out in the country. So it's like
Yeah.
driving down dirt. It's one of these places, Troy, where there's like the next neighbor is like an eighth of a mile
Yeah.
down the road. I'm like, oh, great. I hope this is not a, sketchy spot I'm going to here. I turn in the driveway and the trees are so overgrown in the driveway. It was like I was going through like an automatic car wash, everything hitting the windshield. And I'm thinking, oh, this is not good. The lawn, and then I get to the front of the house. The lawn is not great. The yard's not great. The farm, whatever it is, just hadn't been maintained in a while. While that sitting on the porch is really what ends up being a very, very nice lady. She's on the
Yeah.
porch. She says, "Well, the case are inside." Invites me in. I'm not exaggerating, Troy. I walk into like the dining room, living room area of this house, and I know for a fact there's a minimum of 10 cats, like
Oh,
literally
jeez.
staring at me,
Oh,
and
jeez.
including 2 cats that are on top of the cases that I'm going to buy. She like chews the cats off. And then she tells me this story about how her
Yeah.
husband's passed, which is really
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like if the cats were all there before the
Yeah.
husband, or
It's like
maybe
this
maybe it's
happened
like
because
a
of that.
coping mechanism for missing the husband. Who knows? And then when her husband was alive, they were dealers of like very high end knives. So they would
Hmm.
go to art to shows and um, sell these knives, and that's what they use the cases for. Well, I quickly find out why these cases are $20 a piece, but there's some issues. There's a little bit of issues. One of them, the latch that's soldered or welded, whatever it is, into the top glass case is broken off. So I'm like, well, how do I open it? And she gives me a butter knife. Well, you just kind of jam the knife in there and you open it. And so I'm like, okay. And then the other one, the aluminum sides, like what was like split apart in back. She's like, "Oh, this would be easy fix. You just need to have a rivet gun, and you can kind of attach the rivets back together." I'm like, "Well, what happened? How did it break?" So she tells me the story about how they're knife dealers, and they're at a show, and some kids come right from them and grab the case and run off and
Wow.
try to take off, and the police are chasing them, and they threw the case. They took the knives out. They threw the case out the window of a moving car on the highway, and I can't remember if the knives were recovered, but obviously the case was by police.
Yeah.
And so through this traumatic experience for the case, it's been damaged and has to be
Yep.
repaired. So I take it my dad's got a shop. We replace the rivet. We end up not doing it right. So this case opens up like a third of the way. We have one case that you need literally a butter knife to open. And then another case that only opens up a third of the way. Yeah, so that was our
I love
our
it.
our $20.
I'd
There's a reason
expect
why they're
nothing less from
$20.
us. Nothing less from us.
The best was when somebody asked to see a card and we pull
Get the
out
knife out.
butter
We had to like
knife.
jam it in
We're
there,
like,
and they're
"What
just
are you
like
doing?
staring
You
at
gonna
us.
check me with the butter knife or what's going on here?" Such a gong show. So you liked our cases.
I
It gave
did.
us an icebreaker to start
Yeah.
the conversation. I
Yep.
guess we can say that. Then Troy, then we forget a tablecloth. But luckily, we were kind of partnered up with kids that are very impressive kids or high
Yeah.
schoolers here local that play hockey that sell
Yep.
cards better than we do, by the way. And one of them does a little bit of work with MCP, so he was there at the booth, and of course, it's a high school kid that thinks that we should maybe have tablecloths and brings one on our behalf. Thankfully,
Yes.
um, so we've got the tablecloth, but we were saved by the kid at our table. And I was thinking last night he's probably listened to our show and was at home. He's like, "Well, I have 2 tablecloths. Yeah, it's Josh and Troy. I should probably." I'm pretty sure that's how that went down. We did have stickers though, so hey, there you go.
Yeah, we
Gave
gave
a
out
bunch of
lots of
stickers.
stickers. Like kids love the stickers. It was
Oh
funny.
yeah.
Some like I don't know if we need a sign that says "Please, free, take stickers," because some people were very nervous about. We're like, no, you can take them.
Take
You can
two.
take
Take
more.
three. Who cares?
Yeah, take more than one. We have plenty.
Okay, now we got to get into the wheeling and dealing. This is where I'm so embarrassed of myself. So I brought a good chunk of cards because I'm like, well, we're at a card. I mean, how do we get people to stop by?
Yeah.
We need to have cards in these very fancy cases that we bought. So I brought about maybe 50 hockey cards and a dozen or so of my old vintage baseball cards. The problem was I didn't really want to sell any of it. I put these cards out, and people, and some of my baseball cards are, I mean, more sought after, like Mickey Mantles and Jackie Robinson's, decently graded ones. And people are coming by, and you can probably tell this better than I can, but from my perspective, we'll get yours in a second. Here's kind of how it went. Is somebody comes by and says, "Oh, what do you want for the Willie Mays or one of my hockey cards?" I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know, because of course I didn't looking him up. Let me look it up, and then as I look it up, then I tell them basically what the last comp is, and I say, well, the last comp is $2,500, and frankly, I probably want 2,700. I don't even know if I want to sell it. I don't think I want to sell it. So sorry, but
Most
you're
people
not going to get a
understood
deal
that
for me.
though. That's the thing. Most people were like, okay, that makes sense. Like a lot of people, no one was cranky about that. They just
I
kind
just felt
of,
bad that it's like, why are you at these people are thinking, well, why
oh
are you
yeah,
set up at a card show if the first thing out of your mouth is you don't
yeah,
want to sell your cards?
yeah,
Because we're in this where we're trying to do this to maybe create awareness for our show,
yeah,
meet people, right? Because we did get to meet a bunch of people. We'll get into
yes,
that in a minute. But and I just felt like I had to have cards. But as I'm going through, like, while I wasn't pricing cards the night before, I at least put together what I wanted to bring.
yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to sell any of these. So I did end up selling a couple and trading a couple. We'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, so I'm glad that you think I wasn't like come off as a crazy
No.
person at least.
Oh, I mean, hey, in an ideal world, yes, we should add it, or everything should have been priced with little stickers on it.
Yeah.
Like the one card I brought to sell was the Alex DeBrincat PSA 10 Young Guns because I went to my case and I was looking. I'm like, nope, 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 nope. Okay, maybe that one. That was the one card. Now, next time, what I'm going to do is I have a big box. It's like a 3-row box for top loaded cards, and it has all my inserts, parallels, and autos that I don't keep in my case. They're just ones either I
Oh,
pulled.
like a dollar box thing.
Yeah, it'll be like a dollar box thing, but some of them I'll have to go through each card because there's probably some $10 to $20 cards in there, but I make sure I price them halfway decent. But that will
You know what you
take a
should do
while.
too? Honestly, because not everyone knows this, of course, but make a little sign that says buying Pecorine. So
Yeah,
somebody
that's
walks
true.
by
I
and
should
sees it
have.
and they have you might run across a card that you would really enjoy having.
Or some guy might show up at your table that has 2 Pecorine rookies. Like that still blows my mind that someone came to our table. We'll get to that more in personal pickups maybe. But
Yeah.
yeah, someone had Pecorines there, and I was like almost blown away. And it was kind of interesting.
Then the last thing that's kind of funny, but I also really felt bad about is, as I mentioned, we're at the show. We didn't plan this like logistically out very well. We have one that went up that morning, and there's like certain things we have to do when we post an episode. We share
Yeah.
it on social media. We do posts. Then on Saturdays mornings, we have to do the mailbag posts. So for a good like hour, I'm literally sitting staring at my phone because I'm like frantically trying to get these posts done. And Troy would be like elbowing me. He's like, dude, there's somebody that's like trying to get your attention because they want one of your cards. So yeah, if you're gonna set up at a card show, maybe pay attention to people that are trying to. But so then I'm trying to like apologize and drop what I'm doing, but not ideal in that respect either. So I did end up selling 3 cards. One of them I totally regret. It was a 2005 Fleer Ovechkin Difference Makers. It's a jersey swatch, not like a super high end card.
Yeah.
Comps were around like $80, and this is how ridiculous I was. But I did have like rationale here. I'm like
Yeah.
125, right? So I'm like almost double comps. But on this specific one, it's a jersey. It was a 2-color jersey.
Yeah.
You never see them, and so
Yeah.
at least I had justification. Someone actually paid that for, and I
Yeah.
don't think that was like a bad deal either. I sold the Matthias Michelli tribute Young Guns exclusives that we pulled out of extended, or I did, and I kind of gave it away, and I'm gonna regret it because I think he's gonna have a good year this year.
Yeah.
And then I sold my Gretzky Puck Providers refractor from 1998 OPG Chrome, which I totally regret doing that too. So
That's awesome. 3 cards sold, 3 regrets.
3 regrets. And we'll get into personal pickups, kind of what we got at the show too. We got a
Yeah.
lot of kind of cool stuff. Best part of the show though, Troy, for me overall was just meeting people
Yes.
and meeting listeners, meeting some new people, getting to talk about our show. So we were set up right next to a big Kaprizov collector, Brady. I think he goes by Brady Thrills on Instagram. It was really nice to meet him, seeing that he's got
Yes.
like ridiculous cards. He had a green PMG rookie for Kaprizov there that was awesome. Drooling over that card. And then we met another a Kirill collector. He goes by Kirill Collector on Instagram. I can't
Yeah.
remember his name. I was so
I'm
frantic
so
yesterday.
bad with names. Krill
Really,
Collector, if you're listening,
yeah,
message us your first or your real name if you want, like, because
yeah.
we need to give you
Sorry,
props because you
I
were
was
awesome.
my very frantic yesterday, and
Yeah, he was
um,
awesome. He talked to us for a long time. It was awesome conversation about the Wild and
gave
complaining
us a
about
gift
Paul
which he didn't
Fenton.
have to do.
Yeah, I got
Um,
started complaining about analytics people that the Wild let go. It was awesome.
then I got to mention our Triple Gold patron and friend Louis from our hometown came and hung with us at the show. That was a lot of fun. He's always great to hang out with, and in general, all I think the people we met and having Louis there, the time that's my biggest takeaway is how fast it went.
Yeah,
It The show was from 9 to 3, and it was over in like a blink of an eye, Troy. I didn't
yeah,
even eat anything the entire day till after the
yeah,
show. And I was thinking, well, at some point, maybe it'll slow down around lunch and I'll just quick like run to the next door and grab something or something
yeah,
like that. But no, it was over in a blink of an eye. And then before I turn over to you, I gotta mention our table mates again. A couple of very impressive
yeah.
young kids who are just crushing it. I mean, they were buying and selling like left and right. Troy, I don't know how old Eric, who goes by Carlson Cards, and Nico goes by Tronic,
They got to be 16, 17, 18,
16,
somewhere in
17,
there. They
18.
were,
But when I was their age, I was a mess.
yes,
So it's like it's just crazy to see them and other kids in this hobby crushing it and really getting like a great education and
yep,
entrepreneurism. I mean, that's one thing that for young people, this hobby.
yep,
So here's my conclusion. Then I'm gonna turn over to you. It was a lot of fun.
yes.
Had a total blast meeting everyone. I can see us doing this maybe a handful of times, but I
Mhm.
don't envision myself being like a card dealer in the near
No,
future because I don't like to sell cards.
it's good though. Now I mean, we know like the mistakes, and now you can correct
Yeah.
those. And even though they're ones we knew, we just didn't do it.
Any other things that you want to mention
Oh,
about
it
or
was awesome just hanging out with people. And it was funny because we set up our table and then that Brady, who was next to us, comes over and he's like, and we've talked to him tons of times on Instagram. I just think it's kind of, I don't know, hockey karma that he was right next to us. I thought that was cool.
They
And
gave us a
then,
little hockey corner too. So we
yeah,
were
they did. I was just going to get to that. We had a little hockey corner. A lot of people came up and said they were really happy to see a lot of hockey because we had Brady, we had us, and then we had the Nico and his friend, was it Eric?
yeah.
Was his friend next to us, and they had tons of hockey. They had a "We Buy Hockey" sign, and a lot of people were super happy. There was other spatterings of maybe a guy would have 4 hockey cards in his case of football and basketball, but we had this really nice hockey setup with all these 4 tables right in a row, and a lot of people really appreciated that because we've said it many times. We go to shows in Minnesota and there'll be no hockey, state of
Yeah.
hockey. And all we did was convince people to go to Toronto half the time. We're like, you want to see hockey cards, you go to Toronto. But yeah, the people was the best part. It was real. I'll get more to it in mailbag, but it was not as packed as it's been in the past. So it was actually really easy to move around, and you weren't ever like, I never felt overwhelmed. Like you had to do most of the talking because I only had 1 card in there, and no one wanted it. that's
not a
that's
big
where I ended up.
not a big drink cat market here.
No,
Well, and yeah, you ended up buying
yeah, I ended up
more
buying.
wax.
Well, I
Spending half
bought
the day
wax.
buying
I bought
wax
because I'm sitting there and I was like,
online.
yeah, I'm looking. I'm like, I was gonna look at wax. And I look online, and I ended up at was it Steel City, and they had 2122.
21,
No,
22
yeah, 2122 OPG paper
paper.
for $29.99 a box. So I show
We bought a
Josh, I
lot.
show Louis, we bought like 7 boxes total or something, and we're just gonna have a night of ripping. I think we're gonna go have some beers, hang out,
Beers.
and rip some
Yeah,
cards.
that'd be fun.
Yeah,
Again, shout out to Louis for spending the time with us.
yeah,
But overall, did you have more fun than you thought you would?
yes, way
Yeah,
more.
me too.
I thought I'd be stressed out for 6 hours straight, but I wasn't. It was fantastic, and it's just having people to talk to, and even the people that came up and chatted, asking about stuff and talking hockey. It was great.
Mhm. All right, we got to make a quick mention for Gong Show partner and sponsor PWCC. Troy, the September PWCC Vintage Auction is live, ends this Thursday night. So now they have both the premiere auction and then they have kind of like a vintage premiere too. So it's a wrinkle that they added a couple months ago. There's 2 hockey lots in the vintage auction. There's a pretty much expected now in any kind of high end hockey auction. You got your 79 OPG Gretzky PSA 8, pretty awesome card. Um, Love to have one of those someday. The next one is really interesting, though. A 1985 OPG hockey sealed wax box with 48 packs. How much fun would it be to open this box? Not $29 like
No,
OPG paper.
it would be fantastic to open.
Pull a Lemieux rookie that's totally off centered, right?
Yeah, totally off center like
Would be a
mine.
lot of fun though. Would be a lot of fun doing it.
And this is OPG, like
I think
awesome.
it's
That's
already at like
awesome.
6,000-7,000 bucks, something like that. So
Wow, that's
it's
crazy.
expensive rip.
I hope they what if they open it and it's all Pokemon because this is BBCE or right baseball
Yeah.
card exchange.
I can't imagine. I don't know how they recover from that because
I don't know.
that's the first thing I think of when I see that
Yeah,
wrapping now.
that's what I thought too. I was like, oh look, BCE. I wonder if it's fake. But I I don't know. Maybe they've survived, or I don't know. I haven't followed that like the follow up on all that lately, so I have no
Neither have
clue.
I, because it's not like as big of a deal,
Yeah, it's
and
not a
there's not a
hockey
lot of
deal.
vintage wax in
Yeah,
hockey. So,
yeah,
also a reminder that the current PWCC weekly auction is live. Head to pwccmarketplace.com, place your bids. On Thursday's show, Troy and I will pick out our favorite vintage modern cards. We always do, highlight them, learn about them. Then lastly, be sure to check out my weekly YouTube show with Jeremy Lee on his Sports Cards Live YouTube channel. Starts at 8:30 Central Time on Sunday nights. We break down all the hockey cards closing in the PWCC weekly auction. Mailbag,
mailbag. Let's do it.
bunch of questions. So we're gonna try to rip through them. So from Instagram, Rimpy Rips, is it forbidden to interview someone from a grading company from info? So I'm not sure if he's like what the intention is here on this one, Troy. Is he kind of saying like, why haven't you guys interviewed anyone from a grading company, or do grading companies typically not want to be
Yeah,
interviewed,
yeah.
or so I don't
Well,
think in general it's forbidden, and if in Rimpy, if there's a specific company you want us to reach out to interview, we'd be happy to do that. The reason why we haven't is there just hasn't really been the opportunity to. We don't
yeah,
have a lot of connections as of right now in that space.
yeah. I mean, the closest thing we have would be your partner. You're doing the show with Jeremy Lee, who obviously
We
works at
tag.
Tag. But to get back to the question, no, it's not forbidden. We can definitely interview someone. I think they grading companies do interviews. I don't know. I haven't really seen a lot, but they definitely are out there on social media. The one thing I said though is you have to be kind of mindful about it because when we do posts or anything in our show about grading company specific, it seems like there's a lot of fans and a lot of haters of each grading company, and they'll just start messaging us all this stuff. And sometimes you just want I don't want to like I'm not the biggest grader, so I don't even want to be involved in all that because a lot of times I don't care about grading. But I
Yeah.
do want to know about all the grading companies. I know want to know what's out there. I want to know when there's new technology, say with like tag, and definitely in our Discord, there's a lot of grading discussion in there. And I get reading those threads and get interested about it, but we just got to be very mindful about it. But yeah, reach out if there's specific companies you want us to start talking to.
Well, here would be my fear about like PSA or BGS or SGC. They're in such kind of a battleground right now for
Yeah,
market share. I don't know how honest they would be with this.
true. True.
So where like when you interview Upper Deck, they're not really competing against anyone, which is not
Hmm.
great for a lot of reasons, but they can be more candid and honest
Yep.
about different situations. So because what I really want to understand is like what's coming.
Yeah.
And I don't know if any of them want to telegraph
Yeah.
that
What's
or
in your
any of their
pipeline?
competitors at this point. All right, next question. Instagram. How do you say this, Troy?
Oh boy.
Kala Kakalak? Kakalak?
Kakalak. I would say, oh, like Kakalak. Kakalak. Yeah, I think it's Kakalak.
Okay. Is SB Signature Legends going to go down as one of the best sets in recent memory?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, Troy, you can
Yes.
take it.
No, I said for me it's yes. I love it. But again, I'm the set is if you want to find the one person to market it to, it's me. So I love this set. I love
Thrilled by all
player.
of it.
I'm a sucker for old player on newer cards. It's the nostalgia. I was a kid during all these like most of these players in their primes when they were playing. I kind of love the fact that it kind of came out of nowhere and surprised us. Like we didn't
Yeah.
hear that much about it, and then it dropped, and we started ripping, and we're like, "Oh my, this is awesome!" It's got some really big chase cards. I love the future or the all-time future watch. And then they have the acetates, and yeah, I love it. I'm a huge fan of it. Now there's recency bias. It's still only been out what a year, maybe, or I don't know, maybe less than that. I can't remember when it actually came out. But to me, yes, I love it.
I would agree with that. If I had to bet like what the general sentiment will be a couple years down the road, that everyone will hold it in high regard. And I'm really curious to follow the values over the next few years of the all-time future watch autos.
Yeah.
Next question, Instagram, Chris Phoenix. Which players who have low value young guns from the last couple of years but didn't get much time in the NHL or didn't play much could have breakouts? Like he's saying, like Marco Rossi, Parsonen, Paterka, Kachekov, Holloway, Yegor Sharangovich, Matthew Phillips type guys that are a few that he's watching. A lot in that question for sure. It's a great topic. We're going to get much more into
Yeah.
rookies and the young breakout people.
Yep.
We've been kind of saving that for the last few previews right before the season starts. I will throw out a couple of guys, want to answer the question at least a little bit. And Connor McMichael, we've heard from a lot of collectors
Yeah.
in the Washington area that are really high on him, and it sounds like he has a good chance to make the team this year. And then the other guy that people have had really strong like PCs around is William Eklund in San Jose, who looks like again this year finally he's gonna start the season with the team. Now the question about San Jose is, are they going to be awful? But
Yeah.
that could give them like top six opportunity, power play opportunity too. So you never know. Anything to add, Troy?
No, we'll get into this. This will be segment stuff, so I don't want to act like we're blowing
Yeah.
over the question. But obviously, Josh gave some name. I actually like the Kachekov just for the fact that he's got two goalies in front of him right now that are 40 plus years old, maybe, or they're really up there and injury prone. So maybe I don't know where he is in their goalie rankings right now, but I think he could be opportunity for him to be a starter. And I think he's played well when he's got the chance.
Well, and all the news this weekend here too is getting back is Marco Rossi.
Yeah.
He put on 15 pounds. This is all like preseason storytelling
Yeah,
too.
it's all the
So
preseason storytelling, so
take
I'll
it for a
believe it
grain of
when I see
salt. But
it.
the thing about Rossi has been very held in very high regard. He got COVID. It was COVID he got sick with really bad,
Yeah, I got
right? And
long
like
COVID.
long
Like,
COVID,
yeah.
which is what Jonathan
Yep.
Taves is dealing with right now and why he's not playing. And it really stunted his development. And the Wild are so desperate
Yep.
for a center for Kirill Kaprizov that if he can finally put it together, that could be an interesting
Yep.
play there. All right, next question. Instagram, the sports card journey. Did Troy stay hidden at the card show? And did anyone pay $1 to see him?
Oh man, I did not stay hidden. I was out front at the table. I did walk around a couple times. And the thing is, I could have stayed hidden because the way Josh was kind of explaining how he had to angle these two banners, it actually created this little cubby, like this little area. I could have put a chair and just hung out there. But then obviously, I don't think anyone would have paid $1 to see me, so he wouldn't have made any money. But no, it was fantastic. I didn't hide. I got out there.
Yeah,
But I had the opportunity though. I had the little cubby.
you're extrovert, Troy.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting back to Instagram and Kakalak. Hope that's right. Just paid 514 USD for a Beniers retro green PMG. Goodbye or risk? All right, Troy.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the riskier side, but again, I just want to preface this. If you listen to the show, I'm not the PMG expert. And if I remember right, Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, greens are pretty limited. I think they're the first. Are they the first 10 are greens?
Yes.
Is that how it goes?
And then 90 or 11 to 100 are red.
Okay. Yep. And so I couldn't remember. That was the one thing I was questioning myself on even. And I think while Beniers had a good rookie season, I think it was kind of a depressed overall 22-23 rookie class. And I was impressed with Beniers. He had good stuff, but I think it definitely is still on the little riskier side. However, I love that this is a way more scarce card than what his Young Guns would be, his base Young Guns.
It's important too that he got the retro because that's the card
Yes.
you get.
Yep.
Right. We're finding that, and the problem with PMGs is there's too many of them.
Yep.
So if you're gonna get one, you want the retro. The green is gonna make it more scarce. So I think
Yep.
it's a pretty savvy buy in that regard. Now whether the price paid with what Beniers turns into, it was a very average rookie class.
Yeah.
If you look at his stats versus other Calder winners, I think he's a good player, but I don't know if he's going to be the next Austin Matthews or anything I don't think he will be. But he's so young. So for the next few years, there's going to be a lot of potential. So how I look at the risk reward of this is over the next couple of years, you might hit a stretch where he produces a lot, where the team does all right, and you can maybe flip it and make some money over the long haul. Will he pan out where this is a $20,000 card? I probably don't think so. But hopefully you're just a fan of the Kraken and you like Beniers and you're happy holding the card for a very long time. All right, next question. Instagram cards age. Do you think the hobby value of premier RPAs is going down? I was actually glad you asked this question because I have a little theory and I don't know here, and it's going to be largely dependent on if, and it's a big if, the autos in Premiere are hard signed. Like maybe
Hmm.
somehow they got them done before Ultimate and not sticker autos because Premiere has lagged in value behind all the other kind of upper tier
Yeah, the upper tier
sets.
sets.
And so I don't think it's going down. I think it's kind of always been down. Remember, the highest selling Premier card ever is $10,823 for a 2015 McDavid RPA that sold last October. Now, $10,800 is a lot of money, but
Yep.
if you compare like the highest Ultimate card, we just had a McDavid sell for 180 that year.
Yeah.
Or you compare to Cups, they just don't have, and I don't really understand why because I think they're beautiful cards.
Yes.
They're very visually appealing. Typically, like I said, they're hard signed. So, getting back to my point, if by chance they're hard signed and ultimate with stickers, maybe this is a year where collectors kind of think, well, I'd rather have the premiere and not the ultimate, and that can maybe change the paradigm a little bit for
Hmm.
premiere. But again, that's a big if they're and I haven't asked Upper Deck if they're going to be hard signed or stickered at this point. You have anything to add to that?
No, I like it.
All right, next question on Discord, JDubs82. I don't know if this has already been discussed or not yet, so I'm going to give it a whirl on here. I've been thinking about purchasing a Gretzky rookie card, and the graded versions get spendy quickly. Fraudulent copies are an obvious concern. Very smart there, JDubs. But if you purchase a raw Gretzky that's authenticated by eBay, wouldn't that cover you if you had it authenticated through a grading company and came back fraudulent? You had an answer here, Jordan.
Yeah, so generally, I mean, so if you purchase a raw Gretzky with, and we'll say it's on eBay with the authenticity guarantee, the card would then get sent to CGC, as they're the company that eBay uses to authenticate raw cards.
Yeah.
So they're the ones that are going to do it. I believe if it passes this authenticity check, then the card there is deemed authentic, right? In the opinion of CGC and the eBay authenticity guarantee, if it passes, then it's deemed authentic. Now, I started going down another little rabbit hole, and what I couldn't find reading way too many pages on eBay's site, because they take you through 5 different links to see all these terms and conditions, is if you get the card authenticated through the eBay authenticity guarantee, it gets authenticated and then sent to you. But what would happen if later you find out it's fraudulent?
Or what if BGS says it's not authentic and now you have
Yeah, and now you
CGC
have this.
saying
I
how
couldn't
do
find
you it could
anything.
be
Yeah, I
a
couldn't find any recourse or what happens then.
yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a great first step. I mean, I'm glad they do this. I'm glad eBay put this program into place. And right now, if I remember right, it's a value based thing. Is it $200, 250? I can't remember
250
what it
something
is.
like that. So I'm assuming any Gretzky is going to be over that. Well, I think it's a way better move than just buying it raw on Facebook
Yes,
Marketplace. So I would
yes,
definitely do that. And yeah, I mean it's that's the scary part about buying a Gretzky rookie that's ungraded is is it authentic? And so either you take it to an authenticator that you trust, or and CGC does have a pretty good reputation.
yeah,
I know their card values aren't great for hockey,
yeah,
but I think I would tend to trust their
yeah,
ability to authenticate.
yeah. Agree.
Our next question from Discord, just hockey cards. Is it possible for Upper Deck to place some kind of price gouging policy in place so the Hunt for Bedard cards don't drive wax costs through the roof? Don't get me wrong, I'm a filthy capitalist, but if prices go higher than your long term customer base can comfortably pay, wouldn't that be detrimental to your brand? Yeah, it's a tough question. I'm definitely a capitalist too, and I think ultimately we need to have faith in the free market system here, right? That true supply, whatever manipulation you might be think happening
Yeah,
now versus true demand will ultimately figure this out, right? If boxes are priced at a point where the hobby says I'm out, I'm not buying, then the prices will come down. So if the prices are going up and they're selling out, it must mean that demand is higher than supply. And we were at the show buying 2021 OPG for $29 a box
yeah,
because that's where the supply and demand relationship works to the benefit of the buyer or consumer at this point. Now putting my collector hat on, I hate this. I hate this. It's stressing me out because I wanna chase Bedard too. I don't want to pay $800 a box, or whatever ridiculous price it's going to
yep.
be. And the other thing too is, you ask a good question about the long-term kind of brand impact. And I just don't know, Troy, if I know enough about macroeconomics or I'm smart enough to prognosticate. Kind of getting back to this whole, like, everything that's happened related to Bedard has been bonkers, and there's
Mhm.
been zero precedence for. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but yeah, it could in some way be detrimental to their brand,
Yeah.
or it could just be supply demand, saying like any other company would, if there's a crazy demand for our product, then we're going to capitalize on that. I don't know.
Well, even I did when I was buying that OPG, we looked too. 23, 24 OPG paper pre-sales are like $90 right now.
Mm.
And that whole Bedard
It's
hype
gonna
is just
suck this year
I
buying
know
bags.
it is.
This is
It
gonna
is.
suck.
It's gonna stink buying 23, 24. That's what I'm gonna say. So
Okay, next question is from Twitter, Sebastian Engelhardt. It's a good question.
yes.
Do you know anything about eBay Vault for higher price cards? Thinking about doing it, but wondering what you guys think the pros and cons would be. You want to tackle this one first, Troy?
Yeah, so I have not done the eBay vault. I do the PWCC vault with stuff I buy in like the auctions, and I've just had everything stored there, so I've never had anything sent to me. But I got to figure they're pretty similar. But obviously, the eBay vault, you store your cards there. It's a secure vault. Right now, there's not any fees, but that's all going to change, and that's I guess would be a con to me. If you put your stuff in there and then realize all these fees are going to be charged. I'm going to show something on the YouTube video that the best thing to do is just go to the eBay vault chart if you want to see all these fees that they're going to happen. Like there's no storage, there's no selling, no submission fees. But then you can see here they got a bunch of stuff on what happens in 2024. And if you buy stuff in the vault, there's going to be a fee starting in 2024 where they're going to add. It's kind of it's a ridiculous fee. They're going to add a fee because they say they got to transfer ownership. Please, that's a 5-second entry into a database to transfer the
That's
ownership
going
of
to
the
be an
card.
automatic script too.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. But anyways, the eBay Vault site has a lot of good stuff on it. I think right now the good stuff is it's pretty. It seems like it's pretty seamless, but I think the fees are going to keep ramping up as this goes forward. And I
The
know
advantage of the
I was
vault is
gonna say
always,
there's some tax stuff too. Like
yeah,
they don't
you
charge
save.
sales tax or something, but that might be PWC fee. I can't remember, but
If you're going to be like a high transaction person, if you're buying cards to flip or to resell, vaulting makes a lot of sense because you don't
yeah,
have to all the shipping costs, all the shipping times. You can the trans ownership is pretty much immediately transferred, and you go kind of back and forth there. But if it's cards like from a PC perspective, the big down or the negative of a vault is you don't have your cards. You lose
yeah,
physical custody of your prized possessions. You don't get to look at them, that sort of stuff. And so, but yeah, if you're a seller and flipper, I think it's a very handy and useful tool that saves you time and money.
yeah,
Oh, and not just eBay's vault, but other vaults as well.
yeah.
Okay, next question. Instagram, top shelf cookie sniper 88. In your opinion, what's the most undervalued young guns of all time? Well, Jay, we could do like a
Yeah,
whole
this
segment
is
on
where I
this.
need to do a whole segment on this.
A ton of
There's no way
research,
I'm going to come up with a good
but I
answer.
did come up with one though that I think is good, Troy. So I'm going to nominate Nicholas Lidstrom from 1991 Upper Deck. Has a pop of 566. One of the great, 7-time Norris Trophy winner? Was it 4-time Stanley Cup champion? Something like that, 3-time. $52
Yeah,
USD. It feels kind of criminal, Troy, but as your best buddy, Tupac, once said, I was given this world, I didn't make it. So
I
that would be
saw
my nomination.
I saw there's going to be a news like a special segment on Tupac. I guess they got more information on his shooting. So now we're a Tupac podcast. No, my thing is here's what I would say. Go through the greatest players to wear each number article. Any of those guys that played in the 90s that has a Young Guns, it's probably way undervalued. But
Fair.
that's my list. But yeah, that's a great idea for a segment maybe in the future.
Yeah. Keeping on the theme of segment ideas from Facebook, Stephen
Yeah.
Albert. Top 5 young guns to buy right now before the season starts. So we're kind of not going to answer this, Stephen,
Yeah,
because
that's coming up.
it's coming up in the next 2 or 3 shows. And we haven't done all the work, and believe it or not, we actually do a lot of work for this. And if we did, we wouldn't want to spoil it anyway. So stay tuned. Next question, Facebook, Joe McKibben. I like this question. made me think. What will happen to Young Guns values based on the upcoming years? So this year's introduction of more numbered Young Guns. So we have the new configuration change. He says it's hard to see base Young Guns or not to see base Young Guns take a hit when now there's
Mhm.
250 and all the other numbers, etc. I think value is going to be is more player dependent and not necessarily card dependent. And so if it's an Austin Matthews, there's not going to be all these options. And so I don't think that that will affect as much. But I think going forward, Troy,
Yes.
that what I'm really curious about is like what there's certain parallels like clear cuts that tend to have a lot of value. How are their value going to change with
Yeah.
these outburst kind of parallels? Are they going to be regarded as highly? Are they going to sell for as much? And then yeah, I think more getting back to Joe's question, do you see base Young Guns being devalued even more because there are more parallels? There are more. What is it like 200 and some more numbered Young
Yeah.
Guns now
Yep.
in? So I think the challenge is going to be that the first time this comes out, it's going to be the newness factor in Series 1. And then we have the whole
Yep.
Bedard thing in Series 2. So I think we're not going to really know the answer to this question, Joe, until next year, until the 2024-25 releases. But I don't know. Do you have any thoughts, Troy?
I just off the top of my head, I kind of think it will going forward. I think it
Yeah.
will devalue the base Young Guns.
All right, next question. Instagram. It's freaking Polly. Can you please stop all the Bedard hype? I can't do a second mortgage to get his Young Guns. Thanks. Well, Polly, as Troy and I are the official conservators and have been placed in charge of all Bedard hype, we're going to take this under advisement, or we have taken under advisement, and we have a decision. No, we can't stop. We won't stop. In all honesty, I think only two things can stop this train, and they're terrible. Both of them. It's if he stinks, and then
Yeah.
if he gets hurt.
Yep.
And I don't think he's going to stink, and hopefully he won't get hurt.
Yep.
Yeah. Next question, Discord Braun. I'm gonna go Braun. It's a question for Troy.
This might be the best question ever.
Troy, what's up with Pecorine? Is he your favorite player of all time? How did you first become interested in him? And have you always collected his cards since rookie year? Has he taken out a restraining order against you yet? Give us the story, Troy.
I can't. He doesn't even live here. He lives in Finland. He actually works for the Predators now. He's kind of like the international goalie scout and works with their European players.
Just gets a check.
No, obviously Pekka, yes, he's one of my favorite players, probably my favorite goalie. I'm trying to say I don't want to list this. He's probably like my favorite goalie from the last 15 years. I still love Pelle Lindbergh, but obviously I was a kid. Pelle Lindbergh didn't play that long, tragic ending and stuff. But the reason why I like Pekka is a couple things. So I'm big on just the goalie position and systems and how these people learn to play goalie in all the different countries and how they teach it. But Pekka was one of the first goalies that started this new wave of the European goalies, especially Finnish goalies coming into the league. If you look at the numbers, I haven't looked at them recently, but when you like 25, 2016, and Pekka when he's in the league during that time, he's been in the league for a while, I want to say 9 to 12% of NHL goalies were from Finland, which is crazy. Their population is the size of Minnesota. And they have all these goalies coming in, and it's due to how Finland youth hockey dedicates time to the goalie position. And Pekka's talked about this, and I love how he talks about the position and teaching it. And you don't just give goalies lip service. Like even the USA, Canada, they'll say, "Oh, you got to have a goalie coach." Well, they might find some dad who's not interested at all, but he'll say he's the goalie coach. Where in Finland and the Scandinavian countries, they find these people, and if you don't know it, you get trained on it. And USA Hockey and Hockey Canada are trying to fix that. But I just love where he came from and how his dedication to the sport and to being a goalie. That's always been one of the things that's impressed me. Also, watching him play, I was so impressed. He's 6'5". He's kind of a monster in net, but he was so quick and he could move so well on the ice. His angles, everything about him was fantastic. And I actually got to study the actual goalie coach for Nashville, gave me his chart of all the stuff he's written down, Pekka has written down, and where he positions himself during stuff. and where the puck is on the ice. It's just one of those things that like draws you more to him because you just see his thought process. And it's like mesmerizing when you kind of look at all this stuff and just how good of a goalie he was. And he had fantastic athleticism. He's true backbone of the team. He's like a really good guy. I've never seen a bad story about Pekka Rinne. Obviously, you don't know these guys personally or anything, but he does tons of work for charities. He's one of the top 3 athletes ever in Nashville. I think someone said it would be him. Eddie George, I think, would be another one. Steve McNair, who passed away, but he's just huge in the city of Nashville. And I've collected his cards basically since the beginning of 2010 is when I actually first started buying Pekkas. And then it helped too that my daughter loved Pekka Rinne too. I don't know if that was my influence or she came to that on her own, but she really liked Pekka, and so she collected his cards too.
Cool.
There you go.
Question for Josh. Wow.
Boo. No. Skip that. No questions for you. Only me.
You've mentioned several times you want to change the way you collect your PC, and instead of having a very large PC, you would rather have 20 or so awesome cards. Can you elaborate what you mean by awesome cards? Does this mean really high value cards, or a few players only, or what would you, or what would some of those cards be? Yeah, I'm still kind of figuring that out. I'm just more like consolidating into, I guess, significant cards. I'm not as much concerned about value, and I'm going to kind of put a pin in this, and I think I'll be able to answer because I made my first big move in this regard at the show yesterday in getting a card that has value, but it's not like ridiculous value, but I think has a lot of significance. And it's I'm proud of myself, Troy. I did good. I did good.
So I have a question for you on this. Would you still have to like the player on the card? Like, say you could get the most ridiculous, I'm just going to throw out a random name, Matt Duchene card ever. And it's like, again, okay, that's what I was curious about because I mean, it might.
I'm not even like interested in like, and this sounds so bad because I like my team, the Wild, but even like a Joel Eriksson act like, it's like,
gotcha.
I don't care.
Yeah, we're all PC Wild players, but yeah, I see what you're saying. You want there's that.
I'm a star chaser. Try. It's true. All right, Brandon. One more question is: what are your top 3 ideas you would suggest Upper Deck to introduce to grow the hockey card collector base? He said his would be number 1, make products more affordable. The more affordable, the larger volume of people can afford to get into the hobby. 2 or less parallels, smaller checklists will make cards, lots of products less confusing of what's actually in them. And then he says better player engagement, relationship in the products and their cards, on-card autographs, game more memorabilia, etc. So you had an answer here, Troy?
Well, I don't know if I'm going to give you 3 ideas, but I keep thinking back to they got to keep innovating. I want innovation. When I think about the innovation, I think about that Gretzky card we saw that had the personalized inscription. I don't know if they've done that in the past, but that to me is a cool idea. How do you build on stuff like that without oversaturating it? I look at some of the stuff Fanatics or Topps is doing, like with the first game patches. Can Upper Deck kind of use that in hockey? Can we have a first game patch on a rookie? And then that patch is going to go into a card. I think that would be cool. I still want to figure out some way of technology. I know we've brought it up before. They had those cards in the past where you opened them and they were actually like a video. There was a little video inside. Now, they were way before they should have came out. They were kind of clunky. The batteries died on them, but I always still think, is there something else we can do with technology besides blockchains and ePack? What's the next step? But innovation to me is the big thing. I do like his suggestions though. So.
Yeah, well, part of the blockchain that was never used is like using the cards, like putting tangible values in the cards. Like you get a certain card and you're invited to some special event that happens every year. It's like a ticket or something like that. So I mean, that could be an idea. I guess maybe a couple other things that I would add is I'm totally on board with getting the players more involved. I'm not saying like sign 20,000 more autographs per player, but like you said, doing some of the stuffs like with Fanatics. I love the inscription Gretzky card we talked about where you get to customize the inscription, that sort of stuff. I think more involvement in integration at NHL arenas. Yeah, you have a large, NHL fans are like crazy loyal and they love their teams, and everyone has a $300 jersey go to a game, right? And so the other thing too I was thinking about is that the NHL is like super long intermissions.
Yes,
right, because they got to resurface the ice and do like their little like intermission shows there as well. So what if you did like you could like buy into breaks during where the cards just get mailed to you? Like you don't have to like
Yeah,
take the cards with you, or you had like card shops in the arenas, that
yeah.
sort of thing to um
And
you
they've
know
done a little bit of that. I don't
yeah,
know,
well, in
a
Ottawa
little
they
bit.
did like
Yeah.
a kiosk or something like that. So you could have vending machines for packs at arenas, or
Yeah. Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, I'll throw in one more I just thought of, and this again is all speculation. We have no inside information on this, but they might want to think about paying more for autos to the players because there's some weird stuff going on, and I'm worried that we're going to get big stars that might not sign cards or be very difficult to sign cards because they have other deals in place.
well, they're going to say you guys already freak out about how much boxes cost. If we have to pay more for autos, then
Well,
the boxes are going to go up. So I mean, I'm just playing devil's
yeah,
advocate. Not, yeah.
but also that's also they maybe can take a little less profit too.
Ooh.
Like I'm just saying that's their call. Like if they don't want Cole Caulfield autos in there,
Yeah, well, that's not good.
yeah.
Okay, then so I think our last question from Ed Lister 82. When do you think we're going to get our artifacts redemptions for 2022-23? Well, Ed, I honestly have no idea. And I do feel your pain though, because
Yeah,
I bought some Kaprizov redemptions from artifacts in 2020 when I was going bananas over him starting in the league and when he's off to a great start, and it took forever. It really
yeah,
did. Honestly, though, what I'd recommend is to email Upper Deck customer service. It's qa@upperdeck.com, and they will be able to give you at least an answer that's
yeah.
more intelligent than what we could.
I'm with him because I'm still missing. I got 2 Pekka redemptions that are sitting at Upper Deck, and it's been over a year, I think.
Ugh. Well, he should have a lot of time. He's not even playing.
Well, that's the thing, and I refuse to do any kind of. I will never do a swap on those because I want them for my PC. I won't. So I want.
Yeah, there
those
comes your
cards.
Matt Duchene.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, okay, we got to bring this up. So I won't say his name, but one of the guys we talked to yesterday showed us he did some redemptions, I think, or he had a quality issue and with a really good card, and he asked for replacements, and he showed us kind of the replacement cards he got.
It was missing autos and SP authentic.
Yeah, missing autos.
He opened up 5 boxes, 4 did not have any autos.
Yes, and he got his replacement autos. I'd have sent those right back and said, listen, I want replacements for these replacements because at least give me one halfway decent card.
I don't think the autos were worth the
No.
paper the cards are printed on.
No, so that was a fun story. Now we've heard stories the other way, all fairness, where people have gotten awesome cards. So,
all right, Trey, we're gonna end with personal pickups. So we have a lot. We're gonna have to get through it. We always start with you though.
Yep.
And
I have some.
Got some to show.
I have some. So in a complete miracle, someone had Pekka Rinne cards at the Minnesota Monthly Card Show. So the first one I bought was this guy, 2005-06 Upper Deck Rookie Update Pekka Rinne. It's out of 1,099. It's a rookie card. I love it. It's kind of like one of the true rookies because he doesn't have, if I remember, he doesn't have like a Young Guns or a Future
That's
Watch,
a cool card. I really like that.
Yeah, I do love this card. Second one I got is yet another Pekka Rinne rookies. This is an 05-06 Artifacts Pekka Rinne out of 750. So obviously bought these. Guy was very reasonable. Got him super cheap. I mean, less than $5 a card. And then our friend Krill, this was from Krill Collector.
Yeah, we don't know your name, but we're really apologetic because we're going to mess us your name, and we're never going to forget it.
He brought us a couple of Speckled Rainbow Young Guns, right? And I got to choose. I chose the first one, and I chose Adam Beckman. And so this is the card. It looks awesome. It's a great. I've never actually. I don't know if I've seen one of these in person. Besides,
they are very nice.
Yeah, besides looking through a case, maybe. But this first one I got to held, and he actually gave it to us. So thank you again. Again, you don't have to do that, but really appreciate it. But since I chose this one, that means Josh got the better one. The better. What did you get? Matt Duheim? Is that who you got? Duheim?
Brandon Duheim.
Brandon. Geez, get my names right. Brandon Duheim. So since I got the worst one, we'll say I got a bonus card, which was this guy, Josh.
You got O'Reilly.
I got O'Reilly. I got a 2020 21 Skybox Metal O'Reilly Retro Purple Spectrum out of 199. I love it. I'm seriously starting a Ryan O'Reilly PC, and it might be just that people give us O'Reilly cards and it's going in my case because I'm going to have a whole row of O'Reilly cards in there. I love it.
All right. Well, I had a number of pickups. I had a really big trade. So the first pickup is a card I bought from Eric at Carlson Cards, who is one of our table mates. It's a 2020-21 SPX Timmy Stutzla rookie jersey auto out of 165. So first of all, doesn't out of 165 feel a little random for
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
does
it's
seem
like
random.
how do you get to that upper deck? Would love to know the story on that. I think I bought this card for like $120, which is basically comps, tough negotiator. It's it's got a couple things going against it, and I'll get into that. But there's one reason why I really wanted this card bad. So it's a jersey swatch, right? That's not like the best. That's a cut auto, which you hardly ever see anymore.
Hmm.
So I'm kind of confused about that. But there's two reasons why I bought it. One is just I think it's a really cool looking card, despite all that. So I like the design of it. But most importantly, it's his full signature with the number,
Yeah.
and you don't ever see it anymore. Actually, he actually went from this to just
The
like a
TS.
Stutzla, and
Yeah.
now he just does TS. So this is like
Yep.
the original OG. Like I actually care to
Yeah.
spell out my. I didn't realize I had to sign 45,000 of these.
Hey, maybe he got paid more that he'd put the full name back in.
And so I think for that reason, and I'm as you all know, I'm really bullish on Stutzla. I think that this card will be interesting to people if I want to move it or flip it or trade it up into a bigger card because it has his full name on there. Do you think that that's could be an important distinction, Troy, or am I just convincing
Oh, I
myself
think
of
I think so. To me, it would be. I like full. Till it looks like you took your time autographs. I'll say like the TS doesn't do it for me in wrestling. I know Becky Lynch has just a BL, and it's like
yeah.
I get it though. They're going through they're doing thousands of these things. Your hand cramps. You might as well just go quick and get
Mail it
through it.
in.
Yeah.
Then I traded a lot of a lot. So I think it was like four, maybe it was Kaprizov rookies, and then a Cole Caulfield card from Fleer for this 2022-23 trilogy. Leon Draisaitl. It's a Frozen in Time, like the thicker plexi card. It's the
Yeah.
black parallel. It's a 101. So I have no idea what it's worth. The Kaprizovs, I've like doubles, triples, quadruples, quintuples of,
Yeah.
and I'm a Leon guy. I really like him. It's a 101 card. I don't know if I'll keep it or I'll use it as like a trade piece, but I just figure
Hmm.
it's a very cool card. It's a 101. Super hard to value though. I have no idea
Yeah.
what it's worth. But yeah, so happy to get this one. Then the next one was a kind of a personal thing. It's a 2021 OPG Platinum Scott Perunovich rookie auto rainbow. I got it because Scotty's from my hometown. Got to support that. Rooting for him to stay healthy this year, and then it's a miracle that it's centered. So couldn't pass it up for that perspective. I don't care. It paid like $10 for it. It's
Yeah.
just a card that I want. My nephew is knows him personally, and he's 9, so I'll probably end up giving it to him.
Yeah.
And then the last one is the big one.
All right. Well, drum roll. Hold on. We got like drum roll. This is a cool card.
Biggest trade I've ever done.
Yeah.
Painful. I had to trade away a Mickey Mantle and a Willie Mays for this. So,
Yeah. You tell me when.
Okay, you can do it now. It's a 1999 Topps Premium Plus Mario Lemieux and Jaromir Jagr club signings dual auto. It's a PSA 9. There's Pop 2. There's none graded higher. The autos can be pretty faded. The autos are pretty good on this.
Yep.
And so getting back to the question about like where I'm trying to focus my PC and on like significant cards, I think it's the first dual auto card for both Lemieux and Jagr. It's both within their playing careers
Yep.
as well. And so I don't know. I just think it's a really cool card and has a lot of significance. It's not worth $100,000 or anything like that for sure. But it's just the type of card that I really, really, there's so many like autos and patch autos that are just like, well, it's like the 7th year synergy,
Yep.
and it doesn't mean they're not awesome. But as I'm trying to like not have a million cards and just have a smaller number of, I don't know if it's 20 or 50 or whatever of cards that to me are significant to the game and the hobby.
Yep.
That this is kind of the first example I could point to of where I'm trying to go with my collection.
Yep.
I don't know. What do you think about this card?
Oh, I love this card. And I think you reached out and we got feedback that a lot of times the autos on these are very faded on these
Yeah,
kind of cards. And this one, it's not. I think it's more the
pretty
pen
good.
probably came up when he did it, but
Yeah,
both autos. That's the only spot. The rest, Yoggers is great. Lemieux's got Oli Lefse. Right, we're just calling this the
only
Oli
Lefse.
Lefse
Yeah,
autograph. Looks fantastic. I love the pictures. I love Yager in the, I don't know what you want to call that, the newish jerseys when they
yeah.
released those. I remember that was very controversial, but yeah, that's a great card.
I think I only found 7 sales on Card Ladder for this card too, so
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
not
numbered.
numbered, but it's rare. I mean,
It's
it's
pretty rare, I think, and the only other PSA copy I sold is a PSA 7, so this is a 9. So I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
and again, I'm not really it's a card that not saying I'm not gonna never sell, but it's a card I want to keep. And as opposed to just having like I've been more the $150 cards
yeah,
kind of person where this is more what I want to kind of consolidate into.
yep.
So yeah, really happy with it. Well, Troy, we did it.
We
That's
did
our
it.
show. If you like the episode, please leave a rating review on Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show, you want to support us, want to chat with us every day on the Hockey Cards Gong Show Discord server, please consider a $5 a month donation. Join our $1.99 support level tier on Patreon. The link is in the show description within our Instagram profile or TikTok profile. There, you can go to our website and link to it at hockeycardsgongshow.com. You go to the Patreon website directly, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. Thank you for your consideration there. We are on social media, so please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And Troy, the Hockey Cards Gong Show podcast is a production of Dollar Box Ventures, LLC. Have an awesome start to your week, and we look forward to being back on Thursday.